Meu Deus. Caiu o áudio aqui, mano.
The history of a very high placement. They've got a great multiplier across the board. Love to take a look back on what happened in that map, how they got there, because yes, they secured a great multiplier. I think they averaged like 1.7 multiplier throughout the course of the entire regional finals, but there was a long road to get there in this one. And frankly, apparently that medal from Miles paid off, because you see this FLS team, they go out first in the first map, they make it to top 10 with a decent amount of eliminations. What we didn't see was that Aiden's squad off screen with Z-Smith picking up kills, setting up this team for success, almost was able to drop the team that won and finally get shot in the back and taken down, but getting top 5.
And I love that they get that buyback, right? Onto Scummit, and he like flies back in after the redeploy and repositions himself. The 1 pixel actually separating. It's unfortunate that Gromalok was already there to pretty much punish him for even trying to do anything towards them. So we do see 2 eliminations, a ton of damage, but then our APAC squad, XTH on the low ground, that last minute buyback for them. They reunite on the low, and it looked like they were going to be able to do a lot of damage towards that Omit EU roster, but this is where having all of your team alive in that end game just pays dividends.
Yeah, this is a tale as old as time itself. When you have player advantage in the in circle, if you have all 3 alive, you usually win.
Is he on Twitter?
Very well. Yeah, you got to tweet out the clips.
Did you already tweet it?
Come on, Ikyo, I see you. Farm your tweets right now.
Don't make the DMs though, bro. Don't make the DMs.
Get your impressions up. A fantastic from the young gun, just recently turned 19, I believe. I believe the youngest player on this entire LAN. But we're gonna head to the stage here with Miles. Miles has got one of the players to talk to. I believe he's Gromalok.
We do indeed. Gromalok is here. So firstly, congratulations, a very big win. How's the team feeling after that one? Breathe the fire out.
Yeah, we're feeling good on that one. It's definitely a good way to start the tourney, but yeah, job's not done, so gotta looking back after the games, and yeah, keep doing that shit.
Keep doing it. Well, you've got a few more games to play, obviously, but a good start, as you said. Now, you've got quite a young teammate. Can you tell us a little bit about him and how the nerves have been for the young man?
Yeah.
Meu Deus, o que é que tá acontecendo com os BR, mano? Eu queria ver o Arinho lá, mano. O Arinho é bocudo.
So yeah, he's one of the best in the game. So happy to play.
Queria ver o Arinho lá, o Arinho bocudo, mano. Gosto de cara bocudo.
This with most of my teammates.
Oh, fantastic, man. How are you enjoying Vegas?
Arinho boga.
Yourself? You walking around, or you just strictly gonna go?
Dream like playing Call of Duty in Vegas, like chat dream clearly. We enjoy.
Gosto de ver jogador bocudo. Eu gosto de amostradinho.
He's not 21, so
Eu gosto assim, amostradinho.
we have a good time here.
Fantastic, man. Well, once again, anything last moment you want to say anything to the
Queria ver o Arinho lá, mano. Levando surra lá, levando pancada.
Let's go, les gars. On est là pour mon.
Meu Deus, como é que o Nando vai voltar decepcionado, mano?
Bon chance. Take care. All right, back to the
It's a family show. All right, Miles, I appreciate you, Gromalok, out there. Big win coming out from Omit EU, and a tremendous win from Inkyo, his first LAN. We discussed at the top of show, how would he perform? How would he be able to handle that pressure? Well, clearly he was able to do so in stride. That final zone was highly competitive. In fact, going back to the very beginning, Dandra, Old Town, Low Town, it's always mixy and dicey when we see zones go there. That's where we started, and the teams, well, they started rotating early.
No, I love that you bring that up, because Enigma made a really good point, right? When we kind of looked at that heat map, when you kind of see this zone formulate, all of these teams that are on that outer edge of the map, they see that it's going Low Town, Old Town, and they go, I do not want to be caught in the water. That is exactly what they want to do. So we saw a number of squads come together very early on, like 8 or 9 people.
That's right.
Just hanging out in Low Town. They grabbed their building and they said, if you want to try and take this space, you have to take it from us. We saw a number of teams kind of rotate on in, some bunker busters getting thrown down, but nobody wanted to hard commit just to throw their life.
You can't hard commit sometimes because it's just too dicey. And actually, speaking of dicey, let's talk about FLS, because they were in some dicey moments.
E a transmissão caiu.
House, there was a lot of engagements that was going on, and for FLS and his team, they were completely dismantled by West Esports, Nitons, Dizzy, and Vita, and we had saw the regain because at some point, right, those rotations going into Lowtown, we see Biffle.
Eu quero ver essa resenha aí, mano.
They get dismantled and get struck by a streak, but the regain from FLS.
Será queda, hein?
Yes.
You gotta give him some props.
Yeah, to knock them down from second place to 22nd from game 1 to game 2 is tremendous. FLS, shout out to you. But let's talk about the big dogs, Gio.
Yeah.
Omit EU taking game number 2.
I mean, to be honest, I think that final circle was absolutely sublime because you had FLS, they actually had this building for cover, and Omit EU, they were out in the open.
Sure.
And it was funny, you know, you heard on the cast, they were like, don't get too cold.
Parece que na bala dos BR não tem bala, velho.
What they did, but I think it was actually really indicative of the playstyle that works so well for this team, particularly when we talk about a player.
Meu Deus, faz que eu quebro meu dente aqui agora.
Prodigy.
Yes.
Even in all of the EMEA tournaments, you know, when they came through the
Tá dos BR.
other teams were saying Enkyo is the scariest player in this lobby, and they said, you know, this is his rookie LAN.
Right.
You know, it's his debut,
It's his
right?
debut.
And we're seeing exactly what he's made of, exactly where his particular strength is, and it's gonna come from being really feisty like that. It worked.
He was feisty indeed, wasn't he? Omit EU taking game number 2. Heats, Gramalok, and Ikio. Well,
Foi bom foi o padrinho ter ido. Se o padrinho tivesse ido, meu Deus, coitado.
as well as he's doing is absolutely tremendous. I'm ecstatic that we highlighted them during the pre-show. Enigma was pumping them up. Gio, obviously, you pumping them up just now. And, you know, I'm so happy to see them do as well as they had. Now, the question is, obviously, when we get to our standings, because Falcons finished off early. I know Aiden's been having a little bit of a tough time from game number 1 to game number 2. FIFA also another team that was finished off a little bit earlier. So game 1 winners and great performers, not necessarily performing as well in game number 2. Now, there is one team, though, that's been making a big improvement throughout the qualifiers, and that's Community.
Yeah, I love that Community in that game too. I'm going to be honest, they have finally done the thing I have been waiting months for them to do, which is they hit double-digit kills. Towards the end, they had over 20, and they finally fixed their placement issue. So many times during the qualifiers, I'd see them have just a gap on everyone else with their eliminations, but then they're going out in like 26th, 27th, and I'm like, it really doesn't matter if you're not taking advantage of this multiplier. Now, I have to give a shout out. We said, you know, obviously this TBE roster, you know, we have some of them kind of playing here, but we do have Tommy as the coach for that team.
That's
I
right.
have to imagine that his influence is one of the best minds in Warzone, has fixed some of these issues for the squad.
Yeah, Tommy's
Good
a great
shout.
competitor and
Yeah.
a great shot indeed. You've been watching Tommy for the
Yeah.
longest time throughout your career. I have as well, and it's great for him to be here, even if he's not necessarily playing. So I know he's happy to be on the global final stage once again. Let's take a look at our heat map and see where the drops ended up taking place. Obviously, we saw a lot of attention in Lowtown, Old Town. Dream, if you don't mind, walk me through the heat map and what went down.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw potentially all, of course, those early engagements, but a lot of action around Lowtown, a lot of teams rotating and getting set early, and rightfully so. Team
Sure.
Jukies, we did see one of those teams early there the whole time, but did fall. So it was really about holding in those engagements and rotating, of course, over the water, but, you know.
I mean, I'm also really curious too. Look at this bottom right at Manor. Nobody,
Yeah.
you know, normally we don't see a lot of people, you know, landing here at Manor. We know that Omit EU, they are one of these squads that are here, but I'm a little bit surprised. A lot of people like to kind of land here, quickly loot up, and then rotate on out. We saw a number of fights go down on there, mainly FLS going up against that squad
Right.
and getting taken on out. It was kind of a little bit of a blender. So I'm not surprised to see, you know, where all the fights took place, but I am surprised to see that Manor kind of became a little bit of a more hot drop here in game number 2.
Well, Gio, everybody's trying to figure it out, right? I mean, it's the global stages after all. We talked with Jukies, and they said we don't even know where we're going to land. They're still figuring it out, and I think for most of the
No
teams...
one can predict what you're going to do if you don't know what you're going to do.
That is a fact. That is a fact, Gio. But the thing is, everybody's switch. You know, people got to switch it up. These games have been way more aggressive than we were expecting.
Yeah, and we're only 2 games in as well.
That's
So,
right.
you know, there is still time for things to really change. And I think one of the interesting things as well is, you know, the teams that come in and have played against each other domestically in their own regions, they kind of will be like, all right, well, I don't necessarily want to go here because I know this team. That was a big talking point we had in EMEA was about Manor in particular.
Right.
Because of this team, Omit EU. It's like, well, they consider themselves the experts there. But the international teams, you know, for example, NA team hypothetical NA team, hypothetical EMEA
Sure.
team, like they're gonna clash in those places and then start to figure out where they do and don't want to land based on that.
You know, today's important for the points, obviously, going into tomorrow's match point. I mean, we're talking a 40-point lead going into day number 1, or day number 2, excuse me, for the number 1 team, whoever that might be. So instead of having to get 150 points, now you only have to get 110. And trust me, that will make a massive difference. But the good thing, though, aside from the points, is because it's a multi-day tournament, you get to fill out your competition and really figure out where you need to be going, what's happening, and get those nerves out of the way. Let's take a look at our standings. So Mini-U will jump up to first, but not by much. Team Community, Enigma, we talked about them, obviously, Dandro, excuse me, we talked about them changing things up, and it is working out. One of the struggles that they had was their placings, and now it seems as if they're doing just fine, but now it's even better because they have 30 eliminations, the most out of everyone.
Yeah, the 30 elims are really helping them come online. I have said since day one, if you want to try and keep up with this Team Falcons roster, it's about who can really get the eliminations. Community, they were my choice very early on to be one of the squads that can do it, and I love, after only 2 games, they are sitting here on 30. Only 0.4 points behind OMIDIU in first. I got to imagine it's a very momentum-based team. I know when Gary starts getting loud, he starts feeling it. He's bringing the energy to those other 2. And I got to imagine after that game number 2, getting ready to head into game number 3, he's hyping them up. They're ready to go back-to-back and keep dropping games like this.
That's right. I do want to apologize. Aiden is actually doing just fine. Game number 1, I know they were finished off a little bit earlier, but game 2, clearly, they stepped it up. They're in 4th place at the moment. Now, if they can just get into those final zones, my lord, they would be absolutely insane. Dream, we take a look at our second page. What stands out to you?
Of course, that Omen NA team with Braxton, Youngsters, and Juju. This team, I guess, in particular, they were just kind of coming into this. Of course, we've talked about them, we've hyped them up, but I'm just surprised to see them in that range. I kind of want to just, you know, especially with Braxton, right, just being that player that really steps it up for the squad, really being that heavy hitter team that always clutch up, even in his ones. But for this team, I'm just surprised to see him kind of a little bit, but it's only game 2.
It's only game 2, right? Plenty of games to go. In fact, 4 plus our solo YOLO, but 4 for the regular points. Things are going to continue to heat up. They already have, as far as I'm concerned. It's highly competitive out there without question, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. We're going to take a quick break, but leaving off, we've got
O Vitality é forte, hein?
Let's see what's in store for us.
The entire team's gone dark. We'll split up. There may still be survivors. Let's move.
Rebuff agora.
Rocket, come in.
Enemy movement. Also spotted.
Does anyone have eyes on it? Report. Everyone fall back! Repeat, fall back! Does anyone read me?
Oh, Season 6 is looking good, and so is our desk. This time around, we're taking the casters, bringing them up for the first time in World Series of Warzone. I've got Spider Tiff and I've got Goj. I've got this guy, Repulse, who's been doing everything. Not only pulse check up just a little bit above, he also brought out the trophy. How heavy is that trophy, though?
Hey, listen, man. Let's not talk about how heavy that is. That's a tall trophy, all right? People were saying, they're making fun of my height. No, that's a tall trophy.
That's a tall trophy.
That's like 6 foot, all right?
6 foot trophy, and a lot happening here in the World Series of Warzone with a lot of storylines, right? And you said, look, we got a couple minutes, hit you with the hard questions. There's been talks of some retirements. Okay, let's just go straight into it. Let's talk some retirements. Biffle, obviously, there's been a lot of talk around that. Is he actually retiring? What's the story behind that? What's happening?
So he said this is pretty much going to be his last year. He pretty much said that, he thinks after this he's done. And but he did give a but. He said, if they announce something crazy next year, he could be back. So
could be back.
Ball's in y'all's court, man.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. Hey, that's a lot of pressure for the team, right? When I've been watching esports a while, man, I told him this. I said, dude, it seems like people want to retire in esports, but they're still young, and then they just come right back. Okay. So I'm hoping he does, and I guess it depends if they lose or if they win, right? So if they lose, maybe they come back. If they win, you never know. Either way, he's been crushing it without a doubt. Now, you've obviously been crushing it up there. You've been watching the storylines throughout the two games we've seen. We're about to hop into game 3. What storylines stand out to you, man? Because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, let's just backtrack a little bit into the qualifiers. Like, it's been absolutely insane to see Grom, Enkyo, and Heeds be the team that everybody expected them to be. They were considered the #1 team in EU or EMEA, and Falcons were considered the #1 team in North America. But lately, they haven't really been performing that way as far as EMEA, Gromalock, and them. And to see them show up on LAN, being 10 points over Falcons, being over community as well, absolutely insane, man. We didn't expect it, but I'm here for it.
What I love about this too is that Inkyo is top fragger right now.
Wow.
Like I'll out myself, foot in the mouth. I didn't think they had that many kills.
Wow.
Inkyo is the top fragger right now individually, 14 eliminations. Right behind him, by the way, community. That Dongi player, bro. Yeah. This guy is different, so we got to talk about them as well.
Yeah,
Can I talk about Dongi real quick?
Absolutely.
Dongi is a player that everybody thought was cheating last year because he showed up to LAN, didn't have the greatest performance, but hey, anybody can have one bad day. Showed up to EWC, placed really good, top frag on his team, I believe, and then the biggest question was going to be, can he show up and play the way we see him play online? Because he's good. Yeah. That kid is good.
Really good.
And if he's second top frag by 1 kill right now, hey, Dongi, man.
Hey. Esports World Cup, he was named Dongwick.
Here we go.
Here I gotta keep it alive because Seymour was on fire with that one as far as I was concerned. Big Dongwick, man. Now he absolutely tore it up and he continues to do so today. Now, obviously, on your broadcast, you guys talk a lot about the Falcons. So let's talk a little bit about the Falcons. Game number 2 was, okay. Game number 1 was phenomenal. They actually were in first place. We're gonna take a look at a heat map for their eliminations and where they've been tearing it up because they're traveling quite a bit, but it seems like one area is where they love to dominate.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, these guys, I'll tell you one thing with them, it's whenever they fight FLS, GUI, and Clavson, it seems like they're the only team that can kill them. They talk about it all the time. Shifty was like, who is this FLS guy? He's like the only one that is killing me. So to see them come out and wipe them, hey, man, wow.
I love that we get to zoom in and we see the tracking and their control of space, especially this match number 1, right? They kind of have the tendency to clear out one side of zone, and if they predict that accurately, which you have Soka being that closer, and more often than not, he is right. And that is how they start the domination. You oftentimes have to use multiple squads, multiple people to even take down Shifty, and I am pretty much a firm believer that if Shifty goes down first, everything is lost.
It might be the only time in Warzone casting where I say it's a coin flip whether or not Shifty wins a 1v2, which is ridiculous to say.
We're in Vegas, though, remember.
We are in Vegas. It's better odds. There's better odds in Vegas, man. They're tearing it up. They're looking good. And 40 points is a lot. You actually were discussing it on your podcast with Jay God and the rest of your crew. 3 games tomorrow, maybe? I mean, how many are you really thinking we're going to be able to see?
Goj asked me this a little bit earlier.
Oh, did he?
I think I said 6 games, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I 6 games. I mean, it just depends today, man. If they end up winning today and getting that 30-point threshold, but if not, they even get 2nd through 5th, I think things will be shaking up.
Yeah, 30 points. I said 8 games. That's where I'm at. I think you were sitting at, bro, I want to see you guys work. Earn your paychecks. Yes.
Okay, look, for the crowd, for the community, for everyone at home, I want 8 games. The more games that we get, it gets even more just interesting and on the edge of your seat. But if we're sitting here and we're like, let's be real, how many times have they closed it out way quicker than 8 games when they are firing on all cylinders? But however, I've never never seen them drop less than like a double-digit game or right there at it. And they might have just done that, especially the team that dropped first in match number 1. And you have to think about it this way. When you start looking at that individual kill leaderboard, they're all sitting on 888s, which sounds great for Vegas, but I like 7s better. There's a lot of names that are above them, right? Sage being one of them right now.
That is insane if you think about that. You know, last year, Sage, Shifty, Diaz.
Yeah.
They dropped Sage.
Yeah.
Sage is now top fragging on his team, but not only that, top fragging more than Diaz, Shifty, and Soka.
Stir the pot, Hector. Stir the pot. Come on, man. They're all
I
my
wanted
boys.
hot takes. I wanted them.
Hey, they're all my boys. I love them all.
For what it's worth, we put a lot of attention on, Falcons, but Sage is a returning champion himself, right? He's looking to go back-to-back, and that would be a tremendous story. I mean, I love his story first and foremost, right? Sage is an incredible guy, an incredible player, and his story is incredible himself. But talk to me about your story, man. I mean, come on. You come in, you got polls checked, you're doing these watch parties. I remember doing these, really, World Series of Warzone last year, shouting you guys out because I'm like, I love what you guys are doing, and you've continued to grow. Where was the passion for watch parties? Why did you decide to start those? What's the story behind who you are?
Yeah, so I'll make it quick. Pretty much, I started watch parties because I looked in the mirror and I was like, if you can't win with Diaz Biffle, it's over. I got second last year, or 2 years ago, World Series of Warzone, and I decided, you know what, I think I'm a better entertainer than competitor. So we started the watch party, started the podcast, and just honestly, it's been amazing. I think I found what I love, so it's been awesome.
Hey, I love your story, I do, and I'm not going to forget you called me L-Flections, by the way. Hey, he called me L-Flections. I was calling him out for his performance. I said, why are you the lowest one on the team and everybody else is doing? But hey, you're doing the right thing, bro. And I love your story. L-Flections lives on, dude, and won't let it die. It's a special thing. Solo YOLO, though, is another thing we're doing, and that's going to be game number 7 today after the normal games have ended. Solo YOLO last year was incredible, and you were doing your own watch party once again there. Talk to me about Skullface winning the arena. Absolutely went nuts.
Oh, man, that was absolutely crazy. I will say Solo YOLO is one of those things where the whole crowd is going crazy.
Yes.
The energy is just through the roof. Seeing Skullface win that, he was actually one of the people that a lot of people thought would win. Sad we don't get to see him here today or tomorrow, but hey, man, like, this year could be crazy.
This year could be nuts. But that story with Sage, right, going through the gulag and then giving it to Skull, and then Skull actually wins. Like, it's just a beautiful story nonetheless. But I'm ready to continue to tell the story for the rest of the World Series of Warzone today. And for the first time ever in the World Series of Warzone stage, we've got 2 great casters, Dandro and Enigma, for game number 3.
Hey, thank you so much, Reflections. I'm going to ignore when you called me big earlier for that premium gas right now. Enigma and I here ready to bring you the hype for game number 3. We watched the first 2 games, man, and they have been absolutely electric. Yeah. Teams that we've been waiting literally all year long to come online are finally making their presence known. But guess what? Game number 3, I think, I'm going to be the make or break for a lot of these squads.
Yeah, absolutely. We are seeing some solid starts. I'm seeing like Omit EU doing really well, and they talked about that on the desk. I'm not going to count my chickens just yet. We've got a long tournament ahead of us, and I have been saying throughout this that day 1 is an opportunity for a lot of these teams to kind of iron out their kinks. So I'm not ruling out a lot of the squads that have gotten off to slow starts so far. So yeah, a long way to go just yet. A lot of stories still to tell, and I can't wait to do it alongside you, brother.
Well, we've seen some early aggression in both game number 1 and game number 2, and I have to wonder, will game number 3 continue that trend? Because it seems like it's really zone dependent, right? Between that game 1 and game number 2. I said it on the desk. I'm watching this kill feed, and it is just bang, 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 bang. Non-stop action all day long. These teams are getting mixy. I got a little bit of intel that, hey, players kind of played some of those couple of scrims, and they were like, wait, my gun is hitting diffy right now. So they are not afraid to start taking some of these ego chows and start really actually being able to make those plays that they want to with their able to online. It's LAN, it's a different environment. I think a lot of people are finding their confidence through game 1, game 2. Game 3, we could see some more teams start trying to do the same.
Well, I'm really glad you're bringing it up about the ping conversation, because a lot of people try and underestimate it over here. It's a huge thing. Like, one of Omit EU's biggest weaknesses is that they lose players through the mid game, and it's often something like they lost a 1-bullet fight, and that can be the difference here on LAN. And all of a sudden they're starting to perform because those fights are going in their direction, not against them. They're seeing those end games out with a 4-3, and it gives you so much presence in that final zone.
Well, we're gonna have to see, is that the case here in game number 3? We're loading on up. The players are getting ready to drop on in Vegas. I've heard you get loud for game 1 and game 2. Let's continue the tradition. We're dropping on in to game number 3. Never mind, I lied. We are resetting lobby. A-okay. But that just gives us more time to talk, and if anybody knows us too, that's exactly what we love to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been yapping a lot about Warzone this year, but let's go back then to talking about, you know, some of the ways in which these teams are playing. And you mentioned the early aggression. Honestly, I'm a little bit surprised about that. I thought that it was going to be quite a bit slower here on LAN. I wonder if that will, you know, evolve through the day, because a couple of teams that have come into this today have changed their landing spots dramatically. We've already seen a couple of these squads decide that they're just going to try and contest other teams for their POIs, and those POI fights obviously super important. We're seeing battles over by Bazaar, for example. That's one on between Panda and then Totem Reply, and then we're also seeing that fight for top of High Rise that went against my Vitality team that I love so much with Noobs. They're picking up the Better Luck Next Time medal.
Yeah, by the way, that is so absolutely criminal that we're giving a Better Luck Next Time medal to the first team eliminated, and the fact that it's Noobs, this like long-standing Warzone player, and he's just
Bora lá, Latam. Torcendo pelos BR aí, mano, agora. Vamos ver que agora essa é da boa. Os nossos queridos brazucas. Espero que dê boa essa daí, mano.
To make it unhappen, but you know, being able to come on in, that early aggression fight at High Rise is something that we kind of marked that we wanted to watch as the day goes on, and it kind of connects to what you said earlier. This is the time to sort of iron things out, right? If you are one of those squads and you're finding yourself losing that fight, okay, I hope you put in the prep to have a secondary plan there, because you might have to go ahead and put it in effect.
Well, this is exactly why we're seeing a difference all of a sudden in Team FIFA Kill, because we've talked about it quite a bit on the desk, but they genuinely had no plan before this event. Like, they went into LCQ still believing they could just outshoot anyone, and I think it was that last map scare that suddenly made them realize, no, we need to have something. And they don't just have a first landing spot, which is over on that west side of Popov, trying to keep their distance from SSD a little bit, but still set themselves up, take advantage of the loot around there and the rotations that SSD like to take advantage of, but also they have a secondary if they need to regain, which they weren't doing before, and that is now playing in through the center of the map and just finding an area to lay low, get their loot together. So those plans definitely hugely important.
A organização desse mundial top, mano.
Well, if there are changes, of course, depending on if you're losing those early fights.
No, that's a really good kind of point to bring up. I hate to keep harping on this team, but I do love the progression we have seen from them. Being able to have that regain sort of strategy is so important. It's one thing to land at your drop spot. You get your loot, you understand the people who are landing around you, you understand your loot path, your rotations, your timings, all of the work you put in all year. For some of these teams, though, if that goes awry early on, they're kind of just stuck, like, looking at their hands, like, what do we do now? And you, like, are dropping back in from the gulag, you pick a random house, and you're like, all right, I guess we're going to try and land there. We got some fun stats for you. Let's go ahead and look at them. We have our top 10 eliminations so far, Nima. Let's go ahead. Let's break it down.
Yeah, so I'm taking a quick look at this. I think the interesting one, actually, for me, that's going to stand out is Prodigy there in 5th. Not that he's not necessarily a slayer, but the one thing that they can be accused of sometimes as a team is not being aggressive enough. I think sometimes they can be accused of passive games, looking for the end zone. So to see them putting up the figures there, that suggests that they've changed something, and maybe it is that they're trying to mix what is a very good multiplier averagely for them and turn it into something that gives them more with those kills.
No, I love being able to see that. We got at the top, we got Enkyo leading the squad so far with 14 total eliminations. Let's look at where he's finding those kills on the map. I love that we were able to do this for the Falcons. Let's see where Enkyo is dropping these eliminations. And well, I'm kind of not surprised to see this, but we're seeing a lot down here. We know this is their drop spot, kind of this one big area of the E-map, but then in that top east, one thing that is noting out to me, though, down there in Manor, they're kind of been known as the Lords of Manor. Haven't really been playing a lot there here yet today. Been finding a lot of their kills towards the north.
Yeah, they're happy to play around Manor, but they immediately get out of it. They like to try and push on out towards the gas station, then squeeze up towards Lowtown. And the thing is that, like, a lot of teams, especially the zones that we've already had through these first two maps, they're having to play through Lowtown. We've already seen that general heat map where a lot of teams getting caught through the center. It's also why we're seeing these lobbies dwindle quite early, in my opinion. But also off there towards the Abtal Academy, that was one of their huge rotations early on. And honestly,
era pra eles mostrar as montagens dos times, né?
Red there. No, I mean, you have to wonder if they were able to make that rotation just a little bit earlier and actually, like you said, deny SSD that opportunity.
Mano, eu achei massa o headset, mano.
Eliminations on rotation, they could actually have even more of a lead so far. But one thing I want to bring up to you, you and I, we've had the chance to cast a lot of tournaments here together and watch a lot of these teams sort of perform. We have seen though times where teams get off to super hot starts, right? They're able to be here, you know, after second map, third map, they're top of the leaderboard, and we're over here talking like, wow, they're having a great game, and then all of a sudden it seems like a cliff happens and they just absolutely fizzle. If you're one of these teams who's had a successful, maybe like Omit EU, first game 1, first game 2, what are you doing to ensure that you can keep that momentum going into these other games, knowing that there are squads in this lobby who can have absolute bangers.
Well, absolutely. I think it is a very important point to talk about stamina in this event and whether or not you can last on out. It is a weakness of Omit EU, for example. We see them have these pop-off games and then sometimes fall a little bit slow. I think one of the things about that is making sure you're not just relying on the same game plan over and over again. I think a couple of teams can get caught in that loop of, well, we've got a plan, it works really well first game, and then just kind of play out second game, start off poorly, and just kind of go back to that same plan. You need to have an alternate strategy that you can fall into in order to then regain throughout these maps. Again, something that we're seeing Profit Team FIFA kill, and it'll be, again, a spot of can these teams manage to not just pick up the 6 maps today, and then obviously the solo YOLO later, which will be interesting, but we've now got, I mean, we're talking on the desk, potentially 6, 7, 8 more games tomorrow, so there's a lot of Warzone to be played. You need to be able to be multi-dimensional, not just have the one strat.
I love all those points you just made. What a beautiful trophy we have here this year. Seeing that thing on the screen. I'm calling a little bit of a cap on Hector saying that thing is 6 feet tall. I think he is indeed just short. Sorry, my boy, but it's still looking great. I'll be curious to see who is going to be lifting this thing. It is absolutely wild. I just love just look at it. I love we got the little center column there, the world, and of course that emblem right at the top, really to mark that you are the first team of here to be able to win Urzikstan. Let's take a look at our standings though, just to give you a little bit of a reminder. Game number 2 saw 2 teams really kind of come online, and it's no surprise to see them at the top. Omit EU, we talked a lot about them, but also Team Community there in second with 30 total eliminations, leading the lobby.
Yeah, putting up those big digits that really make those multipliers count, right? I think you brought it up before. Sometimes they can get accused of getting a little bit too aggressive, get cut down throughout the mid games, but they seem to be doing a better job of just rooting themselves in, because that is one of the risks sometimes when you want these high slaying squads. You want to play around the edge of zones. Sometimes another squad is gatekeeping you on route in, but they're doing a good job. The one thing that does scare me about Dongi and Rational Scumming is they've been a bit inconsistent recently. They've been a little bit quiet, but there was a period through this year where we had them down as the second best team because of how good they looked, how consistent they are. So all of a sudden, I'm sitting there going, okay, well, are this team suddenly finding their feet?
Before tá em terceiro lugar, hein?
Repeat of what we had before.
No, I definitely think that is a huge show. I mean, very early on, I was one of those people as well, like thinking, hey, with their ability to have these performances, I'm going to keep saying it. If you want to keep up with a team like the Falcons, you have to be able to find these eliminations, and they are proving to be that team. My number one gripe was always their ability to convert that into a much higher average placing. Reminder, folks, if you are in 2nd through 5th, you have a 1.8 times multiplier on your eliminations, okay? And that's a sliding scale, right? So you then get down to a 1.6 and then a 1.4. This team wasn't taking advantage of that. They were like dropping games where they had 18, 20 eliminations and literally having maybe a 1.2. Maybe. You cannot be able to be in that point where you're not taking advantage of the points that you're leaving on the table. So I like that they've been able to convert that in. They're getting these eliminations and they're able to have those multipliers.
Quarto drop agora.
Lobby, getting ready to fly on in, my man. Game number 3, getting ready to get started.
Absolutely, and as the crowd starts to get ready for this map 3, a couple of storylines already coming together. Falcons off to a slower start than usual. Other players rising to the fore. We're just moments away from seeing how we progress through the rest of this afternoon.
We are here, drop number 3 of the World Series of Warzone Global Final here on day number 1. Surprising number of teams coming out on top in game number 1 and game number 2. Will be game 3. Bring us another group of squads who are finding their footing here as we're seeing our players drop right out of the plane. And we're already right into the thick of it, baby. We knew this contest was happening. It is Community. It is Team Vitality. They are just continuing to butt heads as Doggy, we know what he can do. First elimination.
Yeah, we've been watching a lot of this contest recently around the high-rise building, and this is going to be the Vitality squad, but with noobs instead of Enxian up against Community. And honestly, recently it's been going the way of that Vitality team, but I do wonder what kind of effect having to bring noobs into the last second sub is having here, and especially in these tight fights. It definitely need a lot of chemistry. Unrational punishes noobs for floating on down, and another slow start for Unrational. That's going to make it 3-0 to Community on these fights.
Yeah, they are doing a great job being able to hold down this high-rise building, and I think the under kind of tone here is that, yes, obviously you get these early eliminations.
Do Scum tá bem, mano.
On the map too to be able to rotate.
Fazendo um excelente campeonato, mano.
Where you want to go on the zone. You can glide from so Long off the top of these buildings, and you're able to kind of chill out, wait to see where that zone goes, and then start rotating. Back on the other side of the map, though, we can see the Las Vegas Inferno. I know they're here in the building, looking to get loud for their team, and it seems like so far early on, they are trying to find some early success against Cloud9.
Cloud9 are going to be pushed into a difficult spot here because Joe will get separated and is spotted on the cross on ground loop for a moment, so it might not be punished. And there's also a lack of utility on this Las Vegas Inferno team, so still relatively 50-50. It's interesting, though, to see that Adrian has picked off Joe from elsewhere, so a third party comes on through, leaving Jason Breadman in a tough spot. And the thing is, they won't be aware necessarily of the fact that they're getting pinned in here.
Yeah, this is a really tough spot because you can see there's 4 different teams in this area. You got FaZe kind of lurking on the outside. We saw Adrian was able to pick up Joe. C9 kind of playing underneath. Las Vegas Inferno.
Bora, Adrian.
Team lurking in the wings. Almighty TJ seemingly has seen Breadman go ahead and cross as he's trying to be able to maybe find one more pick. C9, a little bit of a scramble right now, losing Joe this early. I know it's been a little bit of a tough time for them, but being able to kind of come out on top here is huge.
Yeah, the one thing that might keep Jace alive, by the way, is that the Spanish XO Esports actually roll in through the back to pick up Babahoff. We see in the kill feed as well, by the way, that Vitality have gone out very, very early, definitely continuing their early game struggles. And this old town crossing into towards gas station here is going to be occupied by the XO Esports, trying to find a route in. Future gets picked on off by Loss, and we're also seeing Blastity's going out nice and early. So a couple of traded blows, just assessing the space you've managed to gain, the loot you can set yourself up with. You brought it up just moments ago. It can really help you picking up these early gunfights for multiple reasons, but one of them is it also lets you play late.
O Aiden. O Aiden tá jogando bem, hein?
Well, let's come on over to one of my favorite teams, Aiden Z-Smith and DJ Moss, currently sitting in 4th on the leaderboard, kind of over here towards this Lowtown area. This team has been really sort of flexible.
Tá em quarto lugar o time do Aiden, mano.
But the number one thing you have to realize here is they love to play as a team, and they will just easily...
É time forte, time, mano.
Continue on moving. It's like a weird, like, fast, slow pace, I like to say, because they're not afraid to get aggressive, but they don't really feel a lot of that pressure. Like, we have to win this team fight, and we have to keep on moving. They're so okay just being like, yeah, I don't really like this fight. Let's go ahead and move on out, and that's something we've seen a lot of top teams are really engaging in. Recognizing when they can get stuck in a fight. They don't have to be able to sit there, and I love that that's what this squad has been able to do. They've been on the up and up. They are here, already performing pretty well here through the first 2 maps.
Yeah, absolutely, and I truly think that Z-Smith, by the way, is an absolute star of a player that you have in North America. And we are seeing this fight execute again at Bazaar. Volkov finds the first, then it's traded out for the second. Bazaar's going to squeeze up on this, finds one, and then gets shot in the back, nearly spins, but Vortex will clean that on up. And that fight, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, has seen plenty of heat on the timeline. It looks like the Italians, alongside Dropstaff, come out on top here.
But if I know anything, it is that Panic keeps the momentum, keeps the energy high for that team. How many times have we seen these 2 teams kind of just land back on each other? I wonder sometimes for ego or whether for actual strategy. So we look towards our map. We see already still a pretty big center zone. Will not force many of our teams to have to kind of make these crazy rotations just yet. We're going to be waiting, of course, for those future zones to come on in to figure it on out.
Yeah, I think when you look at this kind of zone, you definitely want to be playing around intels. You definitely want to be figuring out which part of the islands you need to be on. You don't want to be having to play across the water mass throughout a late stage rotation, just asking to get cut down. I mean, this to me stinks of a potential cargo zone. So, for example, if you're off towards City, you're having to try and make that crossing, you're asking for trouble if you do it late.
I absolutely love that. I love the call in the Intel contract, too. I think it's one of those contracts...
O Aiden tá bem, mano.
Not entirely. Players know how useful...
Jogando bem ele, mano.
...read those zones, but especially in a time like this where it's so central and you want to know, is this going to pull right? Is it going to pull left? Is it going to pull north, south? Whatever's going to do, get those Intel contracts, get that early cash on up to be able to use it. Back on over to COD Munity, laying in wait, scumming. He sees this fight kind of brewing. But
Meu Deus, os BRs estão virando bot, mano, na mão dos gringos, mano.
This could be really rough.
Ainda acho que o Nine, junto com o Tony Boy, mano, dava uma boa representação, mano. Junto com o Snafão, mano. Eu acho que é um time mais forte. Até pelo estilo de jogo do Nine e do Tony, mano, que são rushadores, né? Acho que eles fazem falta num cenário mundial representando o Brasil.
Lower performing squads in EMEA, but a team that do a lot of VOD reviews. So if you can figure out who you want to take your fights against, and I'm a little bit worried here that Rocket might not have spotted the team coming in behind. That's going to be brawling.
Esses times que hoje tem no Brasil não são os melhores, mano, jogadores de COD, não. Na minha visão. Não são os melhores jogadores de play, não. De COD, não. São bons jogadores, mano. Mas Não são, pra mim, não são os melhores. Questão de rush. Até peso, mano. Eles não têm o peso que o Nine tem, mano.
One thing I know, you got a couple of straight shooters on the other side, ready to rip you right on off it. Rocket's trying to make his way on over to the teammate. Maybe holds on out, but this is a sticky situation. They're looking to make the exit right now. I don't know if Exiles is going to let them do it.
No, I don't think so. Rocket is trying to squeeze, but you've run out of smokes at this point. You had a window of opportunity to escape. You've not necessarily taken it. Rocket gets a couple of bit more damage in, but Zakar is potentially surrounded here. But can he execute a flank? Can he get in around the...
Vão rushar, vão pegar ele, mano. Meu Deus, quebrou um. Pegou a máscara de gás.
Rocket's going to play exit strategy, and I'm not sure if I agree with this. You're leaving a teammate out to dry, and honestly, the initial engagement, it was a case of Zakar was too far away to provide the support. That's why it all fell apart for this team.
Yeah, well, at first I was like, I don't know if I like this. Play with your teammate. You just got a knock. Play the 2v2, but look who's been able to move on in. It is Omit and A. They are here. We saw in game number 1, they kind of tried to do something similar, right? Over towards that Bazaar. They made this late rotation on in, tried to be able to take that fight. They unfortunately just basically get reverse slammed and get sent to the gulag immediately. Not letting the same thing happen.
Oh, Husker.
Some early fights, but I love what Huskers and Jackal have been able to do here. They've made this read that, hey, Omit and A's got to be around.
O Biffle. Esse time daí é o mais famoso, mano. O Hisoka, o Shift e o Biffle, mano. É o time mais famoso. O Shift agora comeu bala, mano. Morreu. Morreu. É o Hisoka e o Biffle juntos.
So much money in the pocket whenever they're available here at Popov. And the one thing is you're rotating back towards a squad here. Panda and Co, they might decide to third party this. Very aggressive team typically, so if they see this
comprar o Shift
going up in the sky, it's whether or not they get squeezed up on. We're going to get a look back here at our zone, and yeah, that zone continues to squeeze on in towards the center. There's still plenty of water potentially splitting these islands, so for me, you've got to continue to get ahead of the curve and try and figure out what the end game is going to be.
Yeah, I like what these squads right in the middle are doing. This is what you want. If it pulls cargo, you're feeling pretty good. If it pulls kind of down towards the soccer field zone, potentially, you're looking pretty solid. If it stays on you towards Old Town, hey, you're sitting pretty. I love that to be able to have as we start seeing some absolute shenaniganry happening with our eliminations. As we're starting to see some people's already hit double digits.
Yeah.
Meu Deus.
It's absolutely insane. I'll come back to that because it looks like all of a sudden the French are in trouble. But before that, I believe we've got an interview from Miles up on the stage with...
Super favorito o time da Omit, mano. Ah.
Fast blast, not the man I thought I'd be speaking to. Game 3 didn't go your way, man. What happened?
So our normal hotspot or drop spot wasn't in zone, and we have a different spot, and we actually killed the top team in our spot, which was like noobs in them, and we killed them, and we get instantly third-partied by Almond's team because they had loadout, we didn't, and then we all just lost Gulag. I mean, Gulags are relatively more like 50-50-ish, anything can really happen, and unfortunately we lost all of ours. I mean, this happened to TB last year from Mazra, you know, Almond and them were probably the best team going to the tournament. And first game, they got dead last, and then they had a great run. I mean, I'm not too worried because this is just for points for tomorrow. So just getting the reps in, and hopefully we execute tomorrow.
Consummate professional and an absolute badass, brother. I've got to give you that. I'm so sorry. I know. Smile and wave at the camera. Back to the casters.
Hey, thank you, Miles. Necessarily not the things I want to hear out of Blast. They had a great game number 1, but an early exit here into game number 3, saying game 1 doesn't really matter, or day 1 doesn't really matter, so we don't really care, but it's you actually do. But into the Gulag, look at this. Breadman, part of C9, he's the last player alive. This is a must-win against Fuzzin. Normally you're feeling confident about this one, but it's land, ladies and gentlemen, through the smoke. The hip fires are there with the SMG, but he can't manage to do it. Fuzzin wins gunfight and sends Cloud9 packing.
Yeah, Breadman's got to be devastated to lose that one. I think actually a close smoke typically benefits players at a mountain keyboard. I know that's a whole conversation, and I'm with you, right? Emphasis is quite strong, but in the close-up smoke fights, typically it's quite useful. Fuzzin goes absolutely massive here to turn and burn, and that will be Cloud9 out very early. It's been a quiet start to the tournament from them.
Yeah, I love this replay. Kind of seeing a little bit of the slow-mo. Fuzzin just kind of hits a nice little slide cancel. And you mentioned aim assist kind of comes into it. Your mouse and keyboard might not be able to flick the mouse that fast. Fuzzin with a fantastic gulag. Hate to see them go, but hey, you got to respect game where it is. Falcons Mena, they're finding themselves just in a little bit of a slower pace already. Zix only with 1 elimination. Not looking too crazy. But I'm looking at that top right Enigma, and I'm seeing Team Community has overtaken Omit EU. Obviously finding some good success here in game number 3 as Almond, well, he has his eyes on a team that you highlighted at the top of the show.
Yeah, showstopper. Vision, AJ. This is a very strong squad in my opinion. There's another one coming on down. Prodigy's going to get caught, and Almond will punish him. Whether or not his teammate can provide any support.
E Community tá na frente ainda, COD Community.
Prodigy an opportunity to get up. The Thermite actually connected with something, and Echo will continue to rain Hellfire down. Echo, Oki, Prodigy have a lot of kills right now, fixing that problem that I said that they have sometimes around passive games. So whether or not you get caught in these kind of stages, you've got to stay up, and Prodigy's knocked down again.
Yeah, I love the patience from Almond right here. He kind of threw a little bit of a shoulder, sees the teammates of Prodigy up on that high ground, realizes, I can't exactly push my way up here. I can't go too wide. They're looking down on it, but he just lays in wait. Prodigy, you're just kind of bleeding out, brother. Maybe saying, are we doing anything here? Or are we just going to kind of play for the regain? Don't worry about it. I love the high ground, though. This is one thing I've always loved about Echo, okay? They will land on this building every single game. It does not matter the zone. It does not matter the plane path. They will make their way to this building and make their decisions from there.
Well, all the conversation around having alternate strategies, I feel, is very valid, but there's also just intimately understanding the map and who you're going to be fighting, and that is how they like to play it on out. We move on over. Volcom, Resolve, they are trapped right now. Stuck truly between a rock and a hard place, and the door opens at the wrong time. Resolve's looking the wrong way. Volcom, nice, slips a couple of plays in. So whether or not you can stay up, it's going to be the Frenchmen that are contesting them. It's Zach, it's going to be Eisen, and Zach finds Volcom, who overstays his welcome here. Now, can the French collapse in on this? Zach will try and clean it up. Eisen gets aggressive up the front, and actually the mine comes on through, drags Eisen down, and Zach does just enough to see.
Meu Deus.
Bouncing Betty had me a little bit worried there for a second that we were about to see a quick turn, but a great fight on the edge of zone. Back on over to Community, though. This is what we like to see. Unrational with a sniper in hand. We got word a couple people are going to be rocking this Morris, okay? I know we don't have one-shot snipers, but what we do have, a sniper that the body shot is breaking plates. Pair that up, of course, with your teammates who just have absolute laser beam aim. You are going to be picking apart teams. Unrational, he's been a fantastic sniper all the way since back in Verdansk. I love that he's sort of leaning into this ability that he knows that he has.
I love this play, by the way, to just hit on underneath. I was a little bit worried that they were going to get plucked out of the sky or potentially just be immediately contested once they land, but head for the underground. That's the bunker tunnel. We get another look at this zone, and well, I think my cargo prediction's out of the water. I think this is going to end up being more of like a Old Town, Sea-Town kind of vibe, and all the teams that are currently sitting center zone are going to be feeling very happy about that, because again, a lot of squads are going to be rotating late across water. They're going to be easy pickings if you're waiting.
That is the #1 thing. You got to put yourself in these power positions to be able to watch some of these teams make their way across and try and, you know, swim through. Now, we know how difficult it can be to kind of shoot through this water, so invest a couple of smokes. You're able to dive in and dive out of it. You might be able to make that cross, but this team so far, they're taking a little bit of a moment just to kind of reset. I think they maybe get an idea of what their game plan is. You've made it to this zone, great, but you try and hop up and play in the ruins, maybe catch people coming over from cargo.
Time do Eden tá ficando pra trás, velho.
Low tempo. Have to wait and see. Still alive here. FIFA kill. Len and Juki's doing good. Len on 4. A not bad start to game number 3.
No, not at all, especially for the support player in all of this. He's the guy who's trying to glue these superstars together. A solid start so far in this map. However, you've got a difficult rotation from this point. There's so many teams in the area. It's also relatively open. Juki's going to pop the opening smoke in order to let him cross back towards his teammates. And look at them, nice and together. This is so much more about what we wanted to see between these three. They're able to support each other, play over the top of one another. That's the utility that's going to provide them the smokes they need, and they also have the LTV to rotate on out.
I mean, I kind of wanted to almost third party, because you see this fight between Clavson and Vortex and them happening just nearby, but it looks like they are just going to use this LTV, get into the middle of zone, find themselves a spot that they can hold on out. But I don't know if you're going to get this for free. You've started making your way into a building. King Chalk and Nyson, you're upstairs. They have to be a little bit careful about just pushing on forward. This is how some of these teams can get taken out too early. You think you have this for free, next thing you know, there's a team just laying in wait for you.
Now, what I will say, Lennon on 4, Juki's on 3. Got to assume FIFA Kill has 1 or 2, so pushing toward double digits here.
Okay.
We're only in zone 5, so plenty left to fight for. Yeah, a good position here would lift them back up into this conversation that we've been having about how well they're doing. And just across the road, there's going to be C-Smith, Aiden, DJ Mash, just stuck between a rock and a hard place. And in the kill feed, by the way, the French are still a part of the conversation too. Super Evan and Empathy are going to try and get on over here. And this is what I'm talking about. These crossings are not easy. If someone's looking your way, they can just pluck you straight out of the sky with that STG.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of a little bit of a confidence play to try and hit one of these zips to get into zone. And you have to know exactly where you're going when you do that, because we've seen it time and time again where people people, they hit the zip, and they're kind of floating just for a hot sec. And next thing you know, yeah, you have a couple people that SCG starting to rip you out of the sky, and you're getting deleted. So I'm glad that they're able to do that. They've found themselves a little bit of a home here. A lot of players finding their area that they want to hang and hold out here. One of those squads we just saw was...
Era melhor nós escudeiros lá. Os caras são muito sem programa. Mano, essa é a mesma visão que eu tô tendo aqui, mano. Eu tô torcendo pelos caras, mas... Tá difícil, mano. Tá difícil, Abelp. Salve, brother. Era melhor nós lá. Essa foi boa, mano. Velho, eu tô triste, mano, que os BR não estão conseguindo, mano. Assim, eu tava comentando aqui alguns minutos atrás que eu acho que esse time esses times que estão aí, mano, esses dois times BR, mano, eu acho que falta um Ninix da vida, um Tony Boy, mano, tá ligado, mano? Um cara mais... Você tá vendo os gringos aí, mano, os gringos são muito fortes, mano, no rush, mano. Eles não estão conseguindo fazer nada. Tá foda, mano. Essa é a minha visão que eu tô tendo também, né? Essa é a mesma visão que eu tô tendo, mano. Eu vi o Ninja Vieira caindo com a bunda no chão aqui, mano. E o Huskers, mano, detonando ele, mano. Eu fiquei com pena, mano, do NG Vieira, mano. Meu Deus. Meu Deus. Mano, eu deixei de assistir a Liga do Campeonato Espanhol, mano, pra assistir isso aqui, mano. Eu disse assim, eu vou fazer a transmissão disso aqui, mano. Mas tá mais divertido, mano. Tá mais divertido. Agora eu só não tô gostando que os brasileiros estão levando varada, mano. Os brasileiros estão sendo detonados, mano. Não consegue dar 2 passos, mano. Agora, sabe pra que isso é bom, mano? Isso é bom pra mostrar que os BRs, eles muitas vezes falam besteira, mano. Dizendo que os BRs são os melhores do mundo. E não é, mano. Não é. Tá longe, mano. Tá longe. Pra começar, o Brasil não tem servidor. A Activision não investe no esporte, mano. Aqui. É, mano, a minha live tá com a melhor quadrada do que a do Erinho, mano. Tô usando 40 mil de kbps. Tô usando 40 mil, Abel. O Erinho usa 25 mil, 22 mil, os kbps. Eu tô usando 40 mil, mano.
A couple teams rotating beneath them. It's just whether or not they can get a second as the mortar rains on down above them. Yeah, this is the only problem when you make a play like this, right? Sure, you've been able to grab the power position. Everyone else is going to hear your shots come up above, though, and they're going to have their sights set on you to be able to kind of try and get that damage on in. So they have to be careful about being...
Meu Deus. Ninguém fala nem no tabacudo, mano. O tabacudo FPS.
Looking at you to shred you on out, but as we...
Coitado, eu gosto do tabacudo, mano. O tabacudo, o trio do tabacudo, ele, o Nano, eu gosto do Nano, mano. Agora tá muito zoado, mano. Isso aqui tá muito zoado, mano. Meu Deus. Eles são ídolos de muita gente aqui no Brasil, mano. Eu só sou admirador deles, mano. Ídolo não. Ídolo pra mim é o Nine, mano. Eu tô achando muito engraçado, mano. Na moral. Minha sinusite tá descendo todinha, mano. Esse jogador... Meu Deus, cadê a NG Vieira, mano? Cadê a NG Vieira, mano? Bora, NG Vieira. Minha torcida é por você, mano. Fala alguma coisa aí, mano. NG Vieira, fala alguma coisa aí, mano. Fala alguma coisa aí, mano. Meu Deus. Ficou na 30ª. Meu Deus. Coitado do NG Vieira, mano. Eu acho que tá faltando pedal no controle dele, mano. Lá, mano. Que ele joga sem pedal, mano. Os caras lá tudo com pedal, mano. É foda, mano. Tem que botar pedal, NG Vieira. É, os caras aí é tudo com pedal, mano. É. Tudo com pedal no controle, mano. Não dá pra competir, mano. O NG Vieira tá jogando no controle desse aqui, mano. Controle DualShock, mano. Que ele joga aquela pegadazinha dele, ó. Aquela pegadazinha dele que ele fica com os dedos aqui, mano. Clau. O Nano tá jogando com esse controle aqui, mano. O controle de Xbox Series. Agora ele jogava no de PS5, né, mano? Eu não tô entendendo porque é que ele tá jogando a Belp nesse controle, mano. Na moral.
You got a couple there, but it's Nate Dogg on the inside alongside Destroy, trying to make this fight happen on out. The hip fires come on through. You're able to find Knight at King Chalk. You get the trades on it. Destroy is there. Going for the res on the Nate Dogg. King Chalk, he got the self-revive. It's not going to be allowed to happen because look who's already there to play spoiler.
They are indeed. Zack7 will pick up the remainder, but it is a 1v3. The Falcons holding the high ground, waiting for their opponent to step on out, playing with their food. They will get a
Vai ganhar de novo, velho, o Shift. Ganhou, Shift! Shift, Soca e Biffle. Meu Deus. De novo, velho. De novo eles ganharam, mano. Olha o Shift, mano. Esse cara daí, se vocês não se enganam, mano, os moleques são bons, mano. É um dos trios mais fortes, mano. Muito forte esses caras, mano.
Come to expect from them, but what it is, it's the momentum starter, and we're only after 3 games in. We got 3 games left here today, plus our solo YOLO. I would not...
Muito forte, mano. Eu acho que agora eles pularam pra liderança, mano. Tenho quase certeza. Vamos ver a pontuação aí, como é que ficou, né? 5 milhões, mano. 5 milhões de reais, mano. 2 milhões de dólares.
Anyone else in the lobby when you see the Falcons have come out on top. Yeah, I gotta imagine that zone really kind of caused a lot of chaos from them too. I loved that end game sort of play that they...
1 milhão de dólares. É 1 milhão de dólares que dá 5 milhões de reais, né? Não é isso?
The teammates are able to follow it up. You get the self-revive. And really at that
Bom demais, mano.
who lands above them. And once they take out Robstar,
é, 5 milhões. Dá 5 milhões de reais. 1 milhão de dólares. Mano, é muito dinheiro, velho. Tá louco, velho. Velho, eu tô olhando aqui, minha qualidade tá muito boa mesmo, mano.
took himself away in the corner. It was a tough map for Omit EU. Feel like they put up quite a bit of kills, but not getting the placement that they would have liked.
Yeah, I mean, here's that play I was talking
E eles rusharam, mano. Eles rusharam valendo, mano. Eu não curto muito os Rickstão, não, mano. Eu não jogo muito esse mapa, não, velho. Eu jogo o Rebuff. Vou ali no grupo postar a morte do NG Vieira e já volta. Vai lá, Belp. Vai lá, maninho. Divulga lá, mano. Divulga lá minha live lá, mano. Tamo junto.
Yeah, what is interesting about that whole fight is that the Falcons looking over the top and then putting bullets into the French triggered that entire occasion. So
eu tô aqui, mano. Eu tô aqui me divertindo aqui, mano. Coitado do NG, mano. O NG é mais frio do que um iceberg, mano. Eu acho que ele não tá nem sentindo nada, mano. Nem raiva, nem dor, nem... Eita, vida boa.
Something we've kind of been waiting for all day. No surprise to see them take game number 3. Let's head on over to the stage so that way Miles can have an interview with the man himself, Biffle.
Thank you very much, boys. The prophecy fulfilled.
Biffle! Já joguei com a sense desse cara, mano.
Finally got the win. How's the camp feeling?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're just trying to find our...
Yeah, see. Yes.
Obviously on LAN, people are playing for $1 million, so it's definitely playing out a little slower compared to like the online tourneys and stuff, but yeah, we're still trying to find our footing. Obviously, we got that win with like 13 some kills. So, yeah, I mean, we're just we're still trying to work it out.
Speaking of working it out, you don't have that many games to work it out. I mean, how do you do that in matches? You know, obviously one of the best players in the world, but what advice would you give to folks at home trying to find themselves in a similar position?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, our team, we're one of the best 3 trios in the game. So, all the other teams, you know, they suck. So we're still trying to get it worked out. But yeah, I mean, it's honestly just taking it slow, trying to breathe in between games. I know Soka's telling us to breathe, you know, keep calm and all that stuff. So yeah, honestly, keeping it calm, and yeah.
Dude, Rowan, thanks very much for that. Any final words you want to say to the fans? You've obviously got a lot of folks in attendance, a lot of love for Team Falcons, what you guys are doing. What would you like to say to them?
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys for showing all the love. We hear you guys. Trust me. We hear you guys through the headsets. Keep it going. I love you guys.
Thanks, man. Good luck in the next one. Over to the desk.
All right, Miles, thank you for that. Biffle saying all the other teams suck. That's that confidence Falcons have, man. And I was saying at the top of the show, repost, like Falcons, they all individually have the most confidence out of any esports player I've seen in quite some time. Talk to me about that confidence and their unwavering faith to consistently win.
Yeah, man, look, they are, without a shadow of a doubt, the 3 best players in their respective positions, right? So when you have that confidence and when you're winning 30 out of the last 34 tournaments, I don't know how you can't have confidence. So I don't know, man. Those guys just built Diffie.
Built Diffie indeed. That's a tremendous win. We go through our replays and we start seeing Falcons and how they really start setting themselves up for success. And Tiff, I actually was overhearing you. You were saying, like, look, zone number 6 rotating in for free.
Próximo Mundial, se Deus quiser, eu vou estar lá, mano. A partir de hoje eu vou começar a montar meu time, meu trio para o próximo Mundial. A partir de hoje. A partir de hoje eu vou começar a montar meu time, mano.
Potentially wanted to contest them over at Pop-Off Power. They're seated right next to each other, and I wouldn't be shocked if after that, Shifty was probably like, oh yeah, guy, like, what up? I told you I was coming for you. But the moment they take them down, there's only a few threats in the area, and it's a mid-EU, right, that tries to lay siege to that building, recognizing the power of that position, because high ground is great, and like I said earlier, if you take it a bit too early, it can be risky. In that case, it was XTH. And Falcons, well, they're the boon of that. They talk about that double-digit eliminations, and here's where they take it. This is where XTH loses in. Omit EU, they try to go in from that bottom. We invest the bunker buster to try and throw a bit chaotic moments into it, but they just cannot get things done. The Falcons are one of the scariest, most consistent fighting teams, and if anyone can do it, it would be that Omit EU.
Talk about a little bit of revenge here. FLS down below getting taken out by the Falcons, right? That team's been dominating, though. They've really come back after a frustrating start, but a crazy another stat. That Zac team had a ton of kills. Also, that's the team that lands closest to the Falcons up at Pop-Off at that gas station, Hector.
Yeah, look, the biggest thing that these guys do that not a lot of teams do, we've been watching so many POVs, so many scrims. Falcons, they always play for the win condition. A place where they think the end zone is going to end. That one right there, that one gunfight, won them that game against FLS and them.
FLS been tearing it up, and actually they were a team that took down Falcons a little bit earlier in the day. This time around, though, like you said, the revenge comes through, and Falcons take their victory for the first time today, just short, right, in game number 1, number 2. They placed number 2, but they should be on top after that one. They're looking pretty incredible, and also another region in general that's looking pretty good is EMEA. I think they're exceeding all expectations.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this, the EMEA in general. Last year was a little bit fishy, I'm not going to lie, but this year, I know Enigma is going to be so happy to hear this. I think EMEA came to play this year, and they're actually significantly better than last year.
I think so. I mean, come on. They're tearing it up. Gosh, you heard them say it. I mean, got to be happy with the result.
No, absolutely. If you're an EMEA fan, you're loving what's happening right now. You've got several teams inside the top 5 likely, definitely a lot of teams inside the top 10. You've got some teams that, frankly, you didn't expect to perform fantastic up near the top 10 as well. We've been talking about FLS. They did the exact same thing they did in the regional finals. They started off horrible. First map completely chalked. Guess what they did in the regional finals? They were top 10 every single game after that, right? And now they're doing it again. They get 6th place in that one, barely missing out on some multipliers. Watch out for that FLS squad. They could squeak into the top 10 and walk away with a sizable amount of points for tomorrow.
And not to mention Community has also been an incredible team too.
Oh my God, finally. Look, leading up to all these tournaments, going into the World Series of Warzone, I have seen the Falcons fall, and it was towards this team Community. Back then, they were competing as USD on Rational, Scum, and Dongy, but talk about it this way. Not only that, they pick up Tommy to coach them for the Global LAN Finals, someone that has such a historic in the competitive Warzone scene. So adding that into the mix, we can already see the changes. I called them a slow burn in game number 2, and they usually pop off in games 3 and 4. We've started early in a 6 6-game series, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're still at the top of the leaderboard, because I think I saw Dongy with like 20 eliminations. He's at the top. He's got a gunny.
Hey, talk to me, Hector. I want to hear your perspective on this team, because these guys are slayers, but when it doesn't work, man, they're trash. And I think it's that win off the drop spot, right? That high-rise win has been setting them up for success.
For the last 2 to 3 months, or a month, they've been losing their drop spot against Stuo, Enxian, and Patsuka. Today, they're winning them all. That team, I'm telling you right now, they have the world record for the most kills in a custom game.
Yep.
They have the slay power, but they just need, sometimes they need a click. They need that team chem. But when they do, I've said this before, we've talked about it on the podcast, they can shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Has there been a team, though, that you've been watching that has underperformed for where you expect them to be after 3 games?
Oh, man, I ran down here as soon as I went in, but I think Brett and them, I think I expected Brett and them to do a little bit better. I know that they said that when it came to the actual land, it was going to play a little bit slower, and it has, but I do think that that's a team that I expected to always be in the top 10 no matter what, top 15. I don't know where they're sitting at right now, but I know they died early the last couple games. So
yeah, and it's worth mentioning too, we see Cloud9 change their drop spot for land, right? They actually land over by Old Town. They're running into likely FaZe first. They obviously ran into Destroy, and Destroy came out on top of that as well. You see Destroy in the final 5 there as well, also in the same area. So that Old Town, Low Town start has been pretty dang hot, and Cloud9's not getting paid for that.
Well, speaking of landing spots, let's actually look at a heat map of all the landing spots throughout the 3 games, and clearly there's a lot of hot spots there. Tip, walk me through these landing spots and what we've been seeing and what makes sense from this picture.
Yeah, as you can see, if you look down towards the southwestern side of things, that main building in Zaravan City, and even a little bit of Quadri Shopping Center, those are some of the areas where the large majority of our squads are landing. And as they rotate on out, the majority of the times we're going to be hitting kind of that C-Town, Old Town. So of course you're going to have a large majority of fights there, especially with our last circle in match number 3 ending in that area. So all of the action there, specifically when you think about the high ground, is like, just think of all the damage that you acquire through that, because it's like, dude, I could shoot for days towards the high ground and I'm just farming, and you gotta go through it.
Yeah, I mean, look, that place, I love that the end game last one was there. When I called it literally second zone. I was like, this end zone is going to be here, and it's going to be crazy. That might have been, I don't know, I could be wrong, the most players we've had in the end game in a while. So
you're right.
That was great to see.
Hey, Repulse, it's been great having you up here, picking your brain, man. And obviously, you got a lot of passion for the scene. I love your watch parties. You're going to continue to do them not only for today, but also for tomorrow, and then, well, for, I guess, all eternity. We don't want to let you go, man. One might be retiring, but you better not, dude. Is there anything you want to say to the crowd before, well, you get out of here?
Yeah, to the crowd, thank you guys so much for being here. I know each and every one of y'all just know I love you guys, and the goal is just push the competitive scene forward. So every single one of y'all sitting here, just know you guys make a difference, and I love you, and the whole competitors love you.
Hey,
thank you, guys.
And we love you too, man. Thank you so much for coming up here. We really appreciate it. And for all of you out there, CT Red, they've been grinding. We heard the passion earlier today from Amir. Let's hear a little bit more.
I am here with Deus Amir from CT Red. My man, it is great to see you. I got a question for you though. You gotta talk to me about the qualifiers for LATAM North. It was a crazy journey through that qualifiers. Talk me through those final moments that got you into this space here.
We had to go crazy to qual, and it was magic. It was total magic. I don't know, we've been in tough situations before. I'm very proud to say that in most of them we've been successful to come back from them. But yeah, I love my team.
A final question for me is mostly just about resiliency, your team, and what representing your region is like.
I keep competing because
Mano, a comunidade BR esperou a semana todinha, mano. Chegar ao final de semana, mano, pra assistir esse Mundial, mano. E tem uma grande decepção, né, mano?
To be here today, like about to play in a
BRs foram muito mal, mano.
in front of a lot of people and representing my region. It's a dream come true. So
one of my favorite things about your team.
Eu acho que tem uma diferença muito grande entre o cara ser um streamer e o cara ser um jogador profissional, mano. O cara que é um jogador streamer, ele é um streamer. Ele não é um jogador profissional. Eu acho que isso tem muito no meio BR, mano. Diferentemente dos caras que são gringos, que já estão acostumados com competir e streamar, mano. Streamar é só um hobby. Ou seja, é um hobby que eles têm no dia a dia deles, mano. Aqui no BR não tem competição a nível mundial pra os caras ir disputar lá, mano. Essa que é a questão, velho.
Okay, respectable. Sage, a good player, obviously. Okay, next up, Enki.
Ooh, I would say 2.
Eu falo todos os dias, velho. Quando eu faço lives do Call of Duty, do Warzone. Gente, Brasil não tem servidor. Brasil não tem servidor. Os brasileiros vão pra lá, mano, passar vergonha, mano. Porque aqui não tem servidor, mano.
I guess this hasn't been.
Não tem servidor, mano.
He's a great player. I'll put him forward because this has not been.
Falo isso direto, velho.
I think he is like S tier. He just gotta put his shit together.
Next up is Samir.
Ooh.
You got first or fifth?
All right. I'm putting myself first.
Okay, look, give me a shout about yourself. Why are you guys gonna win it all?
Yeah, I mean, we've been sticking together. We're really passionate, and I don't know. You'll see tomorrow. You'll see tomorrow.
Okay.
Já imaginou se o Nano conseguisse trazer o título pro Brasil, mano?
Ooh, my bad, brother. I'll put you 5.
Shifty, the worst play on our list. That was with Samir. Shifty's not winning it. It's Samir and CT Red. Samir, thanks so much for coming in, man. I'm so excited to see you all perform tomorrow. And
thank you, brother.
Cheers.
Yo, give more spots to LATAM North.
You heard it here first, or probably not first. I agree. Check out LATAM North.
Always great to hear from Amir there. CT Red, right? Still tearing it up today, trying to do their absolute best. And, well, we'll continue to see how they'll finish out. That's 3 games down. We are now at our halfway point. 3 more games to go to decide the opening points leading into match point, day number 2 tomorrow. I'm Taylor Reflections, joined by Dream Crazy Geo, and, of course, Danjo down there. Danjo, how did it feel to cast for the first time at the World Series of Warzone?
I've been a lot of casting this year alongside my man Enigma. So
That's
it was
right.
Great to be here. Give some hype, of course, to Las Vegas here on day number 1. And most importantly, have a great game to be able to cast over. I know it did slow down a little bit, but I think it was fantastic to still watch everybody. I think finally take the game a little bit seriously, realize that you're bottom of the leaderboard and you got to do something different already.
Really? Oh, wait.
By the way,
there is $1 million on the line.
I think there is $1 million. I actually got a case of cash to show off. Again, can I keep that? I don't know, but that's where the $1 million sit. Hope nobody charges me for that. By the way, Falcons win their first game of the day when you cast. I just want to point that out. So
remember, okay, so no jinx though. Last year, I right after they won, I went up to Shifty, Biffle, and Sage and dapped him up. And at EWC, Shifty was like, "Yo, after I win, I want you right there,
okay?
Because I want to be able to go look you." So maybe just a little bit of a premonition to what can happen.
Premonition.
Oh, wow.
Let's talk about how the first 3 games have unfolded. They've been absolutely blistering fast, and if you haven't been paying attention, well, you might not have been able to keep up. Game number 1, we started hot and heavy. We were expecting a bit of a slower start, but Dream, it was lightning fast. Nobody was slowing down. All gas, no brakes.
Yeah, indeed, all gas, no brakes. And I mean, a lot of aggression, but we almost saw, in fact, our team Falcons take a win, right? Shifty was left in that 1v2 situation, but it was B-Mark, essentially the underdogs that were able to take it here, revenge tour, and that was an impressive one.
It was B-Mark, J-Tech slide. They take game number 1. I mean, we weren't expecting them to do so, but Danjo, they made it happen, and that was probably the biggest surprise of the day.
No, it was the biggest surprise, but it does also tell the tale of the rest of the day because, yeah, you win game number 1. I love it. It does a lot for the players, but you win game number 1 with 7 eliminations, and they were in like 8th after that first kind of game. So it's like, yes, it's great. I love that, but you have to have those eliminations if you are going to be taking on games. It's still a great start to the day, though.
And Gio, game number 2, Omit EU. They come out, man, absolutely frying. They had the ego, but the ego paid off.
Yeah, I mean, is it too on the nose to say it was all guns blazing?
There you go.
That's
what it was.
Very literal, right? But it's exactly what happened. And I actually want to touch on something that you just said, where you were like, you know, you win the first one with 7 elims, and like you're still kind of coming out 8th after that. But that was something that we saw after drop number 2 as well, because we had teams like Team FIFA Kill and like Falcons who did really well in that first drop and not so hot in the second, and then that's where they were placed after that. So still, even if you come out like really hot at the start, you've still got to keep that up, which obviously we saw in game number 3.
Yes, that's right. And game number 3, Team Falcons, they end up taking the victory.
Yeah, and one really quick shout I just wanted to say, Enkyo being that top slayer, even being that young gun player, land first time, that pressure, that's amazing. But
Meu Deus.
about pressure. The one thing I was gonna say, because obviously, you know, we were in the green room, I was like, look, if they win this game, I don't know, that momentum, they could just carry it further because with Falcons, they just need time to figure out how everybody's playing. And you guys heard it. Biffle said, everyone kind of slowed down from game one.
It seems like they did, and he also said, well, all the other teams suck, so he's got that confidence. I'm going to continue to say that because, hey, there's not a lot of players that can get away with saying that. He's one of those players that can say that and be like, okay, well, facts. All right, let's take a look at our standings and see who is at the top. Will Falcons take over first? They will not, but they will creep up to second place with 65 total points. COD Munity, Dandro, continue to hold on tight. 68.4 points. They have 42 eliminations, so even though they're not necessarily getting the placings, they're getting the elims, and they maintain first place.
No, this is what I love to see from this team. You want to be consistent. You want to play game over game. And like I said, I mean, the Falcons, yes, off of that win, you kind of come online. They jump up the leaderboard to second, but COD Munity, we know what's capable with them. So now, even if they just stay neck and neck, that's really all I want. I just want somebody to try and basically give Falcons some trouble. Make it not easy for them just to be at the top of the leaderboard and take all this pressure off themselves. They actually have a little bit of pressure because even though, yes, you are in second with 65, not too far away. Omit you, you're only 10 points behind.
And you know what? You just got to get, okay, Don King, 20 eliminations, by the way. Insane.
Insane indeed. And it's a lot, and that's why they're up and where they currently are. I want to shout out Omit EU, Echo, and then we also have FIFA. Look, EMEA, and I asked Repulse this, and Gio, EMEA has truly been tearing it up today. They are without a doubt a constant conversation. You got to be happy with that result, and we could see an EMEA team win 40 points today going into day 2.
Yeah, I mean, actually, you just mentioned one of the teams that I was going to say I'm really going to be looking at, and that is Team Echo, because they've been in those top 3 kind of situations in the drops that we've had so far, but they're kind of sat in 4th place right now. They've been playing really well, and they still just got to pull through and have that first place finish, which I believe very strongly that they have in them.
I think they do, and another team that has just been great is FLS. They've been a consistent talking point. Now, granted, Falcons did get the best of them, Dandro, but FLS has also been another team that I don't know if you were expecting a lot from them, but they gave us a lot from today.
I wouldn't say I was expecting a lot from them, but I was really curious to see how they were going to do on land, leading up in a lot of the scrims and tournaments and things. They were kind of, nobody knew about them until the last month, it felt like. And then it was in the last month, they really came online. They really started actually being one of these teams that could perform really well, off ping, mind you, might I add, in a lot of these scrims. So when that happens, you're kind of always now having a little tuned into the radar of what this team can do. Now we're seeing them being able to take fights, being able to lose fights and then regain on a different side of the map and still have a fantastic game. It's these sort of movements that I look at for a lot of our teams to kind of say, okay, you have what it takes to be at the top, and it's just a little bit of refining for them to be able to get there and stay there.
And also they got humbled really early, which is kind of a nice way of starting off because you can get out of the way.
Hey, might as well get it off at the very start, right, Dream?
Oh, no, exactly. And, the one thing I love about them, too, because obviously all 3 of them have land experience from last year. Coming into this, they had some uncomfortable moments, but the thing...
Final player, we know where they're going to go.
All 3 of them have land experience from last year. Coming into this, they had some uncomfortable moments, but the thing... Three of them have land experience from last year. Coming into this, they had some uncomfortable moments, but the thing... All 3 of them have land experience from last year. Coming into this, they had some uncomfortable moments, but the thing... Three of them have land experience from last year. Coming into this, they had some uncomfortable moments, but the thing...
Muito problema na transmissão, mano.
Coming into this, they had some uncomfortable moments, but the thing...
Tá muito ruim, mano.
que se eu te
O negócio vai ser jogar de bastão, velho.
Então, tipo assim, voltando no assunto do competitivo, mano, ninguém que joga no mouse, todo mundo que joga no mouse, dá pra criar um conteúdo fudido, tá ligado? E eu já tenho na cabeça exatamente o que fazer, mano. Tipo, se o jogo for da hora, se o jogo for divertido, tá ligado?
Three of them have land experience from last year. Coming into this, they had some uncomfortable moments, but the thing.
Esperar o sinal voltar aqui, mano. Meu Deus, o que tá acontecendo com os brasileiros, mano? Os brasileiros levaram patada, mano, no Mundial de novo! De novo levaram patada, mano.
Three of them have land experience from last year. Coming into this, they had some uncomfortable moments, but the thing.
É, mano. Parece que já deu, mano. Os brasileiros levaram pancada, mano. Sabe o que é pancada, mano? Só pancada, mano. E a Baronete não quer conectar, não, mano. Tá conectando não, minha baronete não.
Three of them have land experience from last year. Coming into this, they had some uncomfortable moments, but the thing.
Deixa eu ver se lá no Savits lá tá rodando lá normal, mano. Savits.
Get ready for the ultimate game experience. Feel the thrill.
Tem muita gente que fala que, mano, dropa no time no Bifo e fighta com eles. Cara, os caras estão há 6 meses dropando no mesmo lugar, mano. 6 meses.
Foi?
Os caras conhecem o drop.
O Nano falando do chat, tipo assim, é só fightar dropa no drop do Bifo. Drop do Bifo.
Então, tipo,
o chat falou isso com o Nano? Não, tipo assim, ele tá falando que provavelmente ele deve vai ouvir um monte, né, mano?
Mostra um pouco da realidade do que é a nossa comunidade.
Mas o nível do Warzone era mas o nível do Brasil era mais forte no Warzone. Não era, cara, é isso que eu tô falando, mano. Nine, Tony, esses caras jogavam. Os caras ganhavam campeonato jogando com o Hayashi, mano. É isso que eu tô falando, velho. Não dava, mano. Era isso, mano. Não tem como, nunca foi forte, mano. O mais forte que a gente tem é isso aqui. É Nano, Ericzinho, Tabacudo, Reaper, Vitinho, o Luquinas, Hard Travis, Hard, que foram os moleques que foram jogando Mundial. Esses são os mais fortes que a gente tem. No passado não era, porra.
Johnny Boy, Ansai.
Johnny Boy, mas é que esses caras, eles tiveram, como pode falar?
Se tu não treinar...
Auges muito rápidos, tá ligado? O Johnny, ele ganhou 2 campos, depois sumiu, tá ligado? Eu mesmo ganhei 2 campos, depois, porra, não sou bom o suficiente pra manter. O One-Shite... O One-Shite é foda, né, mano? O One-Shite e o Legacy é 2 preguiçosos, filho da puta, que podia ser jogadores top tier pra caralho, mas não aguenta ficar jogando muito tempo do jogo.
Tem como tu chegar.
E eu vou falar uma parada polêmica.
120 são bons, tá ligado? É muito diferente.
O controle é muito roubado, é muito forte, geral sabe disso. Só que o papo de controle, mouse, a briga em assiste mouse, fudeu o desenvolvimento de todo mundo que jogava no mouse e teclado aqui no Brasil.
É, porque o cara simplesmente... O cara simplesmente aceitou que não ia conseguir evoluir, foda-se. Em vez de, tipo, tentar realmente evoluir, tá ligado?
Tenta evoluir no mouse e teclado, então compra seu controle.
Esses 20 jogadores...
O One-Shite foi o único cara que eu conheço que fez o caminho contrário.
Vão ter o mesmo pensamento.
Saiu do controle e foi pro coisa.
Pode pedir pra qualquer um aí que vai ter a mesma linha de raciocínio.
Ai, meu braço abaixo.
E eu já troquei essa ideia várias vezes. Sabe um moleque que discutia comigo, mano, boladamente sobre isso? O Gabi, lembra do Gabi?
Aham.
Lembro?
Não, porque o Brasil...
Gostaria muito que nossa região tivesse mais
gringo é tudo bot, não sei o que. Irmão, o open lobby dos caras lá, tem gente esquilada pra caralho, que trabalha 8 horas por dia, senta num PC que roda 300 FPS, e
as pessoas vão querer ser melhor naquilo e tentar participar desse dinheiro, tá ligado?
Os caras que jogam COD há 15 anos.
Não tem, mano. Então, a partir do momento que não tem investimento na nossa região...
Tem muito cara lá.
A gente tem que buscar esse investimento em outro lugar, mano. Que nesse caso é bootcamp em outro país, velho. Então...
É igual, eu vi um cara esses dias, tá ligado? No chat de alguns caras da Vieira, falando assim, pô, eu morava no Brasil, jogava COD...
Sabe lá, Ela.
Compreendeu o que eu quis passar.
Pra ver que eu concordo com tudo que ele falou aí. E eu penso igualzinho a ele, mas eu nunca vi um streamer falando e é a primeira vez que eu vejo, inclusive ele falando sobre isso.
Do que? Do Tony e do Nine? Eu sempre falei.
Não. Da região.
Da região? Ah, da região isso
tudo
sim.
que ele falou aí, do como era o jogo, competitivo e tal.
Sim, pô,
competia com meta forte, tá ligado?
Exato, pô.
Já tem código, tá olhando?
E não ganhava. Não ganharam do Metaforma Mundial, né, que teve na época.
Aham.
O Mike sempre...
Agora, que engraçado. O Nano só veio falar isso agora, mano. Coisa que eu vinha falando lá atrás, ó. Eu vinha falando isso lá atrás aqui na comunidade, aqui no canal, mano. Ele veio descobrir hoje, no dia do Mundial, que não tem servidor, mano. Que não tem investimento.
Só que a classificatória de hoje meio que foda-se pra amanhã.
Não.
Porque, tipo assim, quem ficar em primeiro ganha 40 pontos, quem ficar em segundo ganha... Quem ficar de segundo a quinto ganha 30, de sexto a décimo ganha 20, de décimo a vigésimo, de décimo primeiro...
Alô?
Achei que tinha sido eu. De 11º a 20º, ganha... Não, o PC do Nando explodiu aqui.
Ah, tá.
Você ganha 15, 10 e depois 5 e os últimos 5 não ganha nada. Aí esses pontos vai pra amanhã. Aí amanhã tem um checkpoint de 150 pontos. O time que chegar em 150 pontos primeiro tem que ganhar uma partida pra ser campeão, tá ligado? Então, tipo assim, mesmo se eles ficarem em último hoje com 0 pontos, se eles ganharem a primeira partida de amanhã, eles já estão no páreo, tá ligado? Aí eles têm que continuar subindo.
Então.
Uma coisa que eu tava pensando, hoje jogar só rushando, na minha opinião. Porque, tipo assim, você vai pegando kill, você quer jogar rushando.
A gente usa o Monday pra tudo, pra gerir todos os nossos leads e fazer ali todo o controle de produtividade do time.
É dia de segurar, jogar mais safe. Eu não sei, eu posso estar errado, né? Mas essa aqui é a minha opinião.
Engraçado, o Nano só veio descobrir isso hoje, mano. Pera aí, Nano, né, mano? Dá ajuda aí, mano.
Porra, não, pô, relaxa. O meu mental eu não me afeto com o meu mental mais por nada, guys. Eu já passei muita coisa desse Warzone, guys. Relaxa. Em chilling, mano.
Qual é o multiplicador mesmo de quem fica pra 3?
Não é porque eu falei isso.
Não tenho ideia. Acho que é 175. Acho que do 2 a 5 é 2 a 5 é 175, acho.
Que suave, mano. Sou maduro o suficiente
mas aí,
de separar
porra,
as coisas.
tem que estar vendo legal que 3 killzinhos a cada já é uns pontos, porra, da hora pra gente, tá ligado? Não pra competir com os caras lá em cima, tá ligado? Os BR tem que segurar, mano. Tem que segurar, mano. Tem que segurar, mano. Tá ligado? Se for rushando, filho. Tipo, o nível é muito diferente, rapaziada.
É muito diferente, não tem como ver.
Muito diferente.
Amanhã não tem essa de segurar, não, que conta muito mais que posição por causa do multiplicador. Ah, mais ou menos, não adianta nada tu matar. É tipo assim, que conta mais, só que tipo assim, é o que a gente tava falando, não dá pra eles saírem rushando todo mundo. Porque não é tipo assim, não é um lobby brasileiro onde você tem 3 times fortes. Não tem, tipo, o time do Nano, o time do Luquinhas e o time do Reaper. Não é isso. Eles não vão farmar kill em mim, não vão farmar kill no Zezinho, não vão farmar kill no Horta, tá ligado? Não, mano, não tem como eles farmarem kill, mano. Tipo assim, toda fight que tu tiver, você tá fightando contra os caras que são igual ou melhor que você, mano. Então, tipo,
Verdade, Savitz. Concordo plenamente, Savitz.
esse tipo de lobby.
Então, o que eu falei, eu tô errado.
Exatamente, Milena, não tem... E eles nunca jogaram campeonato, né? Eu sempre falei, mano, eu sempre falei na minha live, velho. O Tony e o Nine, eles... Porra, tem os méritos dele, elevaram muito a comunidade, eles, porra, na questão de criador de conteúdo são fantásticos. Mas na questão competitiva do bagulho, eles só ganharam campeonatos quando eles juntaram o GPG no time. O GPG era um dos melhores jogadores do Warzone da história.
Do evento caiu.
E, tipo assim, o GPG ele sabia levar o time sozinho, mano. Se os outros dois caras sabiam dar bala, ele levava o time sozinho.
GL.
Pode ver, pode olhar todos os campeonatos de Warzone. Primeiro título do Tony Boy tentando há anos com o GPG. Primeiro título do Nine tentando há anos. O Nine tentou 33 times, mano, com o GPG. Então, tipo assim, quem carregou os caras foi o GP no lobby privado. Porque lobby privado era onde o bagulho começava a funilar. Quando eu ganhei o lobby privado mesmo, pô, metade dos caras que tava lá tava de festa. O The Dark ainda jogando de escudo, tá ligado? Não era o cenário que a gente tem hoje. É totalmente diferente.
Olha a cara do Nano, meu irmão. Tá desolado o cara, mano. Ele disse que nada abala ele, mano. Já tá todo abalado, mano. Já tá todo abalado, brother.
Felipe Cash. Trio perfeito.
Eu já tô pro nesse jogo.
Felipe Cash é jogador de DMZ, mano.
Tiaguinho, tu não sabe o que é ser pro, cara. Quer que eu te mostre?
Pô, todos são
software, isso aqui tem muito tempo,
A gente deve estar esperando isso pra começar.
Mas enfim, concordo com tudo que o Nano falou aqui, tá ligado? E é mais um desabafo dele porque, tipo assim, ele tava se cobrando... Obviamente, porra, ele tava se cobrando muito. Porque ele é um dos melhores, se não o melhor da nossa região. E ele tem... E ele fala isso abertamente o tempo todo. Então, tipo assim, o cara tava se cobrando, tá ligado? Daí, quando ele chega lá e ele vê que, mano, é foda. ele fica baqueado, mas ele falou o óbvio, tá ligado? Ele falou o óbvio pra quem entende um pouco mais de esportividade, assim, tá ligado?
Nano tá abalado, mano. Cara...
Exato, ano que vem ele vai estar lá de novo. São 3 times que brigam, mano. São 3 times que brigam, mano. Luquinas, Reaper e Nano. Desses 3, 2 vão estar lá ano que vem de novo, tá ligado? E vamos tentar evoluindo sempre, mano.
Até o dia que os caras abrirem 3 e forem os 3.
Exato, o dia que abrir 3 vagas pra América do Sul vai os 3. E não tem segredo. O único trio que ganharia desses daí são os imundos.
Coitado do cara.
Começou.
Meu Deus.
Sim, é muito alto, é muito diferente o nível, mano. É muito diferente o nível. O Nine, mano. O time do Nine não era ruim, mano. O Nine tinha o Ritin, que é um dos caras que... O Ritin, ele tem recorde mundial de Lab, mano. A mira do cara é absurda, tá ligado? E o cara parecia uma batata no COD. Tipo assim, lobby fechado é muito diferente, mano. É muito diferente, é muito diferente, é muito diferente. Tem várias coisas que integram no bagulho.
Como a gente não conseguiu treinar nessa merda desse mês, velho, dá pra pensar que toda parte a gente tá melhorando em alguma coisa.
Eles estão, mano, foi o que eu falei, viado. O problema deles é eles crachar numa casa logo, mano. Se eles cracharem numa casa logo, eles têm play pra fightar lá.
De raciocínio que eu acho que vai dar certo. Uma hora ou outra vai dar bom, mano.
Que eu acho que o time do Nano precisa pra melhorar, crachar cedo na safe, mano. E dá sorte também, porque nessa última partida na cidade, eles jogaram bem, tá ligado? Até a safe fechar do outro lado do mapa. Mas isso foi azar deles, eles não tinham como fazer, tá ligado?
Vou pegar água aqui.
No top das
Meu Deus. Que situação.
Eles estavam bem posicionados. Só que a
Que situação dos BR, mano.
São muito porteiros.
E se aproveitar melhor das situações.
Mas o Nano tá falando.
Acontecerem, tá ligado?
Exato. O Nano tá falando o que eu falei, ele tem que botar antes, ele acabou de falar.
Dentro da safe, eles seguram loot até.
E gastando recurso pra caralho.
A terceira safe, mano, até a liquidação. Tu viu que um time rotou pra fora do gás, mano? Tu viu isso?
É o que eu tô falando, tá ligado?
Veio pra fora.
Eu não sou bom de fight, mas eu entendo um pouquinho.
Na liquidação, mano. Tá ligado? Pra eles terem dinheiro pra fazer.
E o Warzone ainda vai evoluir pra isso.
Sim, mano.
O problema do Warzone é porque cada ano a gente tem um mapa. Então não tem como, tipo assim, ter um cara que é realmente um coach, um analista, um cara que vai entender, tá ligado? Mas ainda vai evoluir pra isso. Tu vai ver que daqui a 1 ano, 2 anos, os times vão levar coach, tá ligado?
Tem que ter uma posição boa, marcar uma...
O Getaway, o Edu foi com os moleques, né, no coisa. Deve ter feito uma diferença, porque eles foram bem, ficaram em 7º lá.
Mas Ressu é foda, né? Mas
mas tipo assim, sim, com certeza.
Pegar o drop e fazer o que tem que fazer, pegar kill, ou então
assiste crew.
Loadout, UV, recurso que der. Adianta safe até numa buy, numa loja que seja nossa.
Boy Deluxe.
Segura até a liquidação, pra liquidação advance, que pega uma posição ainda melhor.
Ó, o Nano tá falando bastante. Oi.
Ei, eu concordo tudo o que você falou aí do nível de gameplay que era lá no passado e que é agora. Mas eu venho aqui que eu tenho que falar do teu mérito daqueles campos que você ganhou. Eu, como espectador, na época assisti, e a tua visão de jogo foi muito insana naqueles campos.
Não, sim, mas é que naquela época... É que naquela época lá também, era tipo assim... A rotate valia muito, tá ligado? Então, tipo assim, uma noção de rotate era melhor. Mas hoje em dia, tipo assim, os times que os caras montou depois...
Vontade brasileira que os brasileiros foram humilhados, meu Deus.
Se me rushar hoje, Nano, Ericzinho...
Como? Jogando num servidor só. Mesmo ping, mesmo computador. 160 de FPS pra todo mundo.
Nada que fura uma parede, tu tem um kill streak que vai todos os andares e deixa um gás que te mata, tá ligado? Então, tipo, tem muito jeito de você entrar na casa. Naquela época era muito mais fácil, tá ligado?
Balão portátil, apesar de jogar
Tu tá aqui agora, cara.
Naquela época era muito mais difícil. Quem tinha uma boa visão de jogo se sobressaía. Tipo assim, minha gameplay nunca foi boa, tá ligado? Eu nunca fui um cara que saía rodopiando, matando todo mundo. Mas eu pensava um pouquinho, tá ligado? Isso era o suficiente. Mas hoje em dia não dá mais. Hoje em dia que tem que dar bala. Exato, na época não tinha smoke, era esse tanto, tá ligado?
Smoke mudou muito o jogo, mano. Mudou muito o jogo.
I love you, man. Thanks so much.
Tipo, fez um aberto se tornar tá ligado? Um terreno suave pro cara...
Foi o que eu falei. Nessa situação do Nano, essa rotate que eles fizeram nessa última play agora, foi a pior rotate que eles podiam fazer. Porque eles tinham muita smoke, tá ligado? Eles tinham pelo menos 6 smokes, e eles tinham um aberto que dava pra passar com essas 6 smokes. E tipo assim, eles foram pro safe, que era debaixo das casas. Só que eles literalmente tomaram... Mano, eles viraram a peneira, eles foram furados de tudo quanto é canto. E eu falei, antes deles irem pro bagulho, eu falei, o aberto é mais fácil, é só smocar reto e passar no aberto, tá ligado? Porque era mais simples, mano. Porque as smokes mudaram muito esse bagulho, velho. As smokes mudou demais, tipo... Hoje em dia é mais fácil tu correr no meio do aberto que nem uma batata, smokando, do que você acabar ficar crachado num lugar que tem muita casa, muito cover, muita janela, tá ligado?
Nossa, tá vazando muito.
Smoke é muito...
E o pior é que o
A Smoke é muito
tem
broken.
essa visão, né, cara?
Sim, sim, tem. Tanto que ele falou agora, tá ligado? Mas é foda, tipo assim, pra mim é fácil falar, tô aqui, não tô jogando, não tô nervoso. Tipo assim, o foda é falar isso. Não, tem que crachar no meio. Como que você vai crachar no meio, sendo que a porra do Biffle tá crachando no meio, tá ligado? Então é complicado.
O psicológico
Não é
do
fácil.
cara que tá lá, né? O cara
Não é
que tá
fácil.
naquele ambiente,
Exato.
psicológico, não é fácil.
Não, e não é só crachar lá no meio, tá ligado? Você tem que crachar lá no meio e saber que, tipo assim, as pessoas estão crachando. Você viu o mapa de calor lá, mano? Os caras mostrou o mapa de calor da partida. 90% do mapa era na cidade alta, cidade baixa, e na cidade normal, né? Que eu não sei o nome, agora esqueci. Na Jersey que estão ali normal. 90% era lá, pô. Então, tipo assim, é o meio do mapa, é o centro.
Verdade.
É que nem eu aqui quando eu tô do lado do Thiago, eu fico falando, faz isso, faz aquilo, por que você não fez isso? Pra mim é fácil, né?
Aham, exato.
Ele que tá ali
na hora que você tem 1 milissegundo pra tomar a decisão, é foda.
Isso é real verdade.
Pô, Rafa, mas o ideal, sabe o que tu fazer? É tu não falar na hora, tipo, anotar as paradas, se ligou? Porque eu tô ligado que tu, pô, investe no moleque pra caralho.
Pera que eu vou tomar uma água aqui, minha garganta vai pro caralho.
Tipo, tu anotar as paradas, se ligou? Num bloco de notas, assim, anotar a minutagem da live e depois trocar uma ideia com ele, se ligou? Tipo, pô, por que tu fez isso e tal? Até pra ele refletir mesmo, tá ligado? O Thiago é um moleque bom, assim, de cabeça. Ele entende, ele absorve bem a informação.
Então, eu não faço exatamente isso que você falou, de anotar assim, mas sempre quando acaba, ele joga um camp, termina, a gente termina a live, eu sento com ele e falo, filho, ó, porque eu meio que gravo as coisas, sabe? Aí eu falo, sabe que ele podia ter feito assim e tal. Eu converso com ele, mas na hora do camp ali, às vezes eu não me aguento, sabe? Às vezes eu acabo falando.
Entendo.
Mas eu sei que não é bom, não é o ideal.
Tu sabe o que ele joga, né? Tu também, às vezes, tu fala, pô, é normal.
Mas assim, obrigado, é isso mesmo, é isso que eu tento fazer, né?
É porque no futebol a galera faz muito isso, os caras de análise de desenvolvimento. E em outros jogos também, Fortnite, CS e tal. Os caras anotam a minutagem pra falar sobre, tá ligado? Pra falar, tipo assim, ó, esse minuto aqui, ó, tá vendo essa decisão que tu teve? Pô, tu jogou smoke ali, se tivesse jogado smoke aqui, dava pra tu ter clicado, pra tu ter... Entende?
Sim,
jogado melhor. Como tem tudo por vídeo, que ele faz live, tem um VOD aí, pô, dá pra...
Não, tá certo. Eu nunca fiz isso de anotar. Na verdade, esse negócio de analisar live depois, assim, a gente vem prometendo que vai fazer, mas acaba procrastinando isso daí e não faz, sabe?
Porque é difícil também, né?
Mas tem que tirar
muita coisa.
Mas eu tenho que tirar um tempo pra fazer isso, pelo menos um dia na semana. Eu falei pra ele, pelo menos um dia na semana só pra fazer isso.
É foda, mano.
Pode ter certeza que isso muda muito a gameplay, muda muito.
Na verdade, o nosso planejamento...
Ai, os BR passando vergonha. Que situação, mano. Que situação, velho, dos BR, mano. Uma hora a conta vem, né, mano? O cara achou que... Não adianta desmerecer, mano. Desmerecer o adversário, velho. A gente tem um exemplo essa semana aí. Na Copa do Brasil aí, os jogadores do Atlético, o treinador, diretoria desmerecendo o elenco do Vasco, dizendo que o Vasco é um time muito ruim. E aí, mano? Os caras se superam, mano. Não, mano, não pode dar arma pro inimigo, não, mano. É melhor elogiar do que falar mal, mano. Os caras entram no jogo com sangue no olho, mano. Aí, ó. Os caras entram com sangue no olho, mano. O que foi que aconteceu com o jogo, mano?
Se equipa rápido, a coisa vai ficar feia. Falando. A nossa mobilização foi autorizada. Olha quem tá aí.
¿Por qué voy a regresar directo? Porque de aquí te queda más directo. No mames, papito, Ibarra queda 2 patas de mi casa, güey.
Gringo, mano.
O gás tá chegando rápido. Mete o pé daí, pra ontem. O objetivo principal é eliminar todos os alvos. Alvos da caçada identificados. Acaba com eles. Tem uma oportunidade de ganhar mais hoje. Não deixa ela passar. Os alvos da caçada foram pra cova. Bom demais.
Salve.
Go.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. YouTube algoesfps.
Bibi. Tú entiendes la referencia, ¿verdad, McLean? ¿Qué dijo? Este es Habibi. Ah. No sé si habla inglés, pero... Sí, sí, sí. No mames, qué chido. ¿Hasta dónde llega la pinche conexión del Warzone, Ya llegaron,
Tan lejos. No, pinche papi. Ah, sorry, Habibi.
Míralo, míralo, míralo. Están acá arriba,
Sorry,
Habibi.
sorry, YouTube. Ay, sí, ya estoy acá contigo.
Están acá arriba, güey. Están arriba en la mera cúpula.
Asómate, asómate, hijo de...
Entretelo ahí. Ay, cómo no se murió, güey, el bastardo, güey. Preguntas cómo llegas hasta allá arriba, güey. ¡Ah, Bibi, mátalo! Ya valió madre. Right.
Yes.
Yes, my friend.
Yes, my friend, Brazilian. YouTube algoesfps.
I know, Habibi, Habibi.
Algoes.
Where are you from, my friend? Hijo de puta. Digo, creo que no me puede engañar, pero quiero ver si es honesto. Sí, sí, sí. Habibi, vamos por el loadout. We're gonna go for the loadout, Habibi.
Tem uma caixa de armamento chegando. Entrega de armamento seguindo para aí.
Para generar billete. Como que acá tu valedor ya dijo Neri. Ah, están ahí atrás, güey, miren atrás. Hay dos ahí atrás, ¿qué onda? ¿Les vaciamos el cargador? Vamos a poner la recompensa, güey. Ah, bueno, van a ser ellos, Corto un huevo, si no. Te lo dije. Te lo dije. Hola, mi Habibi. Let's go, motherfuckers. Habibi y yo vamos a caer en el aire. Ah, ok. Como diría el Capitán América, let's get son of a bitch. Mara, papi, ya llegales. Ya los vi. Ay, ya están aquí abajo.
Ay, God.
No, mataron a Habibi.
Ah, está aquí.
Aqui é o Gulag. Luta e vence para remobilizar.
Muérete, hijo de puta, está batido. El otro está abajo del puente, güey, de los arcos. Faltan dos, güey, No, uno, ¿no? Ya se han echado la recompensa. Te lo marqué, güey. Ok. De izquierda. No, está del otro lado, papi. Está arriba. Papi, pues si está arriba, dale, güey. ¿Cuántos armamos? No, ya me llegaron todos.
Ay.
I'm going, Habibi, I'm going. ¿Y se llama así o se le pusiste así? Es que este cabrón. Yo le di primero. Tienes que salir, papi, para que compre el oro, güey. Sí salgo, sí salgo. I got it. I'm from Russia. Ah, puta. Pelo. Let's go for the loadout. Ah, no, ahí está. Acá cayó. Ya. Uy, siguen acá estos hijos de chingada madre. Ahí van por usted. ¿Dónde? Ahí van por usted, ya lo marqué, güey. Bastardo, sí me dio. Ah, no mames, no se murió. Dale. Traía mejor arma. Ah, no mames, hay un franco.
Acaba com isso. Gás a caminho.
Run, YouTube, run. Corre, perra, corre. No, este güey se va. Está viendo qué agarra, güey. Como si se fuera a agarrar el pájaro. Marca el pinche cable. Voy a marcar por unos vergazos y unos Oye, si se llama así o tú le pusiste así. ¿Cómo? Si se llama así o tú lo pusiste así, güey, como le estás diciendo.
Yes.
Así se les dice. Así se les dice a los hindús, güey. Así, güey, pero. No, pues ponle Apu, güey, si quieren.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Javi.
Thank you, guys. Campeón mundial. Y Cody. El butiquero. El butiquero de Cody.
Por la verga lo que está diciendo este carnal. Nada más espero que no me la estén mentando. Ay, siguen ahí esos putos, güey. Quiero regresar por ahí. Pues ya, güey, vamos a llegarles porque este está la verga, güey, de estar looteando. No, pues están arriba del puente, güey, Hay que ver qué pedo. Un ataque, ¿no tenemos para un ataque? ¿Compramos un ataque? Sí. Bueno.
Caixa de munición.
What?
Acá junto.
Ahora ya están ahí arriba. Ah, no me sacado bien.
Pode deixar. O gás está por perto, realocando a zona segura.
¿No vale que sacaron?
Reconhecimento. Os drones de recon estão no ar. Essa é uma tática que fica fora de alcance.
Ya, por las armas, güey. Ahí voy atrás del team. Anda el ataque, pero no dio nada, güey. Ay, papi, te vas a encontrar uno ahí de frente. Ay, no mames, qué pedo. Uy, ¿de dónde? No mames, güey. Me bajó en vergüenza. Sí, güey.
Ah, não.
No.
Nem vi o cara, mano.
GG, Javi. Salte en el grupo, güey.
Mesmo grupo?
¿Ves, hijo de su? Lleva 14 kills, papi.
Meu Deus. É dose, mano.
Checa suas armas e equipamentos. Inimigo chegando na A, ó. Todas as estações, luz verde. A gente vai mobilizar e mostrar quem manda. Bora quebrar tudo, gente. Tá confirmado.
Salve, salve.
Peguem os paraquedas. Vamos pro Warzone. A regra do combate é simples. Fogo liberado em todas as ameaças. Vejo vocês do outro lado.
I don't,
Você é o líder da equipe. Marca um ponto de aterrissagem, soldado. Cuidado! O gás tá chegando! Vai pra zona segura!
Actually, I set up the scavenger on the seaport.
Seaport?
Yeah.
Out there? Alright. Alright, Green got a different idea. You wanna,
It's fine.
You wanna keep doing the scavenger?
I think he's coming this way to blue on the bird.
Hey guys.
Probably gonna set it off and I mean halfway.
Coming in to grab it.
Caixas de suprimentos marcadas. Assegura os locais. Bora caçar o inimigo.
Alright, I got a utility box.
Gás se movendo. Uma caixa já foi. Faltam duas.
Tem suprimentos aqui.
Seu esquadrão entrou na zona segura.
We all have microphones. You could say what you got.
Heading to scav.
Gotcha. So I hear people around.
Think that was green, breaking glass.
No, they're over here throwing smokes to the right.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I see bought something at the buy.
Yeah. Damn, that wasn't the last one. In the top of the tower.
Thank you.
On me? There's a guy on me.
Damn, I missed. He's got it down. Getting shot.
Damn.
They still got me. Fuck. He's pushing. He's pushing in here. He's still in here. He's coming around. He threw another grenade. Good kill.
Yeah, not bad.
Colega de esquadrão entrando no gulag. Vai remobilizar se sobreviver.
So did we get the card? Alright, we got the bunker card now.
Bunker aí por perto. Olho aberto, entendido? Indo pra lá.
Ah, nigga lay down.
Colega falhou na missão.
Gonna bite
Tá
back.
voltando pra base.
Ah, damn. Where's the buy at right here?
Thank you, thank you. Hey guys.
Green, can you buy?
Entrega de armamento aliada a caminho.
I guess I can. I don't know where that money came from.
It's all good, man.
I marked
Don't matter to me.
bunker. I'm gonna meet the bunker.
Marcando nova zona segura.
I appreciate it. Copy that.
Actually, there's a new circle.
You got the key card?
Contratos que pagam mais que o normal
Yeah, but there's a
hoje.
new circle that's
Bora
gonna
pegar eles
close.
e depois depositar.
You see anybody out there?
Not yet. Yep. Up here. I got shot. Fuck. Pinged them.
You still there? Oh man.
Yeah, I got 2 pinged.
No, I had to run.
I'm just telling you where the enemies are. One's on the bridge, sniping.
I'm the only one alive. It's okay.
Você mereceu a remobilização, soldado. Se prepara.
Gonna be
What's my money?
If you could,
What?
there's gonna be people here. If you could look out for a second. Some on the roof. Just through armor box. It's on the roof. They got that ladder somewhere. Right there. Do you see anybody enemies while you're up there?
Nah.
Yeah, please look, man. I'm tired of doing all the recon. How much money we got? You could put up if you get like the small UAVs. Where's green at? Should we go look at green?
Well, put this mosquito up.
We don't need it. We're looking at green. We're moving.
O gás está chegando. Avança para a zona segura.
Green's fighting people. If we could try to shoot his enemies. Got a dude up the hill. They got a snipe in here if you want to pick up that snipe. This car is behind us. Green didn't make it. We tried.
Looking for that car.
We can get to the circle. Someone's dropped.
Oh, he's right ahead.
Let's go towards the mosquito.
Near my mosquito.
Start a fight. Hopefully it drops on them.
Aliado ativo.
Give me your money, I'll buy him back.
Oh, I got sniped, man. From behind us. Oh man, I gotta get up. Alright.
Squad wipe? Nice.
Matei um.
Who did that?
Green.
Good stuff. Green, you could buy plates if you need plates. I got ammo. What's a tall building to look at? These guys on the zip line just jumped and went that way.
Alright. Being tracked on a bounty.
Well, let's just go towards circle.
Someone just hit the rappel.
For sure.
Gás chegando. Nova zona segura localizada.
I don't
marking.
I thought he see the enemy, but I don't see him.
We need to start moving.
Alright, I got combat scout on. And I got a mobile buy station.
God. Alright, they're jumping right on that roof. They're fighting up the hill behind us, and you got red. We gotta keep going to circle. Kevin, I wouldn't be.
Okay.
Just
let's keep going.
For a sec.
You wanna go left or right?
We need to go to the circle at first.
I'm gonna rotate right around the enemies here.
Yeah, they're all over.
I got a radar over here.
One,
I'm posting here. So the gas gets closer.
I mean, the car just slid past you.
Eles não estão mais rastreando você. Você despistou eles.
They're on our roof right next to us. Who's sniping?
Teammate green. All above us.
I'm across the street.
Realocando a zona segura. A gente perdeu o objetivo de vista. O contrato parou.
fighting up the hill. We just gotta go building the building. They're on the radar.
There's a drone outside. Someone's landing right here.
One dude's floating. This dude's right across the street from us. Just took that truck. Building's okay. Somebody's behind y'all.
Atenção, os inimigos mobilizaram uma estação de compra.
Well, who killed you? Why are you not safe over here? No reply. Green. I got nothing from green.
Hey man, I'm out of time. I gotta go.
Well, good night, man. Or.
Só faltam 25.
Mas só depois do meu banho.
O gás está chegando. Avança pra zona segura. Tava na luta. Valeu o esforço. Vamos lá. inimigo descendo na área. Olho no céu. Checa suas armas e equipamentos. A gente vai mobilizar. Inimigo chegando na A, ó. Tem um inimigo descendo na área. Olho no céu. Usa esse tempo para praticar um pouco. A luta de verdade em breve. Todas as estações está liberado. A mobilização é logo logo.
Tudo pronto. O comando deu liberação. Vocês estão indo para a linha de frente. Se equipem e peguem os paraquedas. Vai ter muito inimigo lá. É bom ficar de olho bem aberto.
Vamos nessa. Marca um ponto de aterrissagem para o seu esquadrão. Evita o gás. Avança para a zona segura.
Salve.
Salve.
Oxe, é BR jogando em servidor gringo, mano.
Isso aqui é servidor gringo?
É sim, mano.
Tá, porra.
Oxe, que achado, mano. Tu é da onde, mano?
Sou do Paraná.
Do Paraná, mano. Mano, eu puxei servidor gringo, mano, no exitlag. Mandou pra esse servidor aqui, mano. Esse é servidor gringo. Fechou? Tem cara ali, ó.
Vou trocar na próxima, então. Tá pega. Sabia disso, não.
Mano, tem um time ali, mano. Ei, mano, vi essa vergonha que o time brasileiro passou hoje, mano.
O que? O que deu?
O time brasileiro foi humilhado, mano, no Campeonato Mundial.
Nossa.
Ah, tu não acompanha não, né?
Não, não muito.
Os caras estão ali, mano. Eu marquei naquela casa ali. Em cima.
Tô indo por aqui.
Tu vai rushar, mano?
Vou. O bagulho é doido aqui. Puta merda. Onde é que os caras estavam?
Meu Deus.
Aqui não é lugar pra treinar. Aqui é o gulag.
Mano, eu marquei lá, mano.
Depois é você, hein?
Tu é novato no jogo, né?
Uhum.
Ah, tô ligado.
Ó, tomei já essa merda. Puta que pariu.
Tô fazendo live lá no YouTube, mano. algoesfps. Se quiser chegar lá pra aprender um pouquinho do jogo, eu agradeço.
Beleza.
É sempre bom aprender, né, mano?
Aham. É que eu tô tentando fazer desafio. Tô pegando aquelas armas pesadas, mas que eu gosto mesmo é static. Oi?
Passei.
Mobilização, soldado. Se prepara.
Vou te comprar, mano. Vou te comprar. Relaxa.
Você agora. O companheiro tomou um sacode. Vai voltar pra base agora.
Achar dinheiro primeiro, mano. Tô quase dando já o dinheiro já, mano. Deixa eu comprar. Tem um cara camperando ali, mano. Falta pouca coisa, mano.